Hello, folks. Welcome to Twin Cities Playtest for September 2021, and that's as much of an introduction as I prepared. Dale and Lane.
Hi, I'm Dale. Hey, Lane, what's Twin Cities Playtest?
Well, if you are here to see the latest and greatest and most exciting games in the Twin Cities area, you've come to more or less the right place. Things here are raw. People are bringing in all the games that they're working on right now in earlier middle stages, and they are bringing it here so that they can play test it in front of a live audience and receive feedback and to make the game better.
So when you say raw, you're referring to the games, not the comments on the games, because sometimes my comments are a little on the raw side.
Dale, this is why you are the number one playtester. But yes, I'm referring to the games themselves. I think that today we actually have a pretty polished oeuvre to show our audience. We're going to start today. Well, I don't want to spoil anything, Dale. I can let you introduce this gentleman. But
Okay.
we have a game that is that we've played before and is on its way out. And then we have another game that we've played before in Emery, but it's got a brand new mode. And finally, we have the rawest of the raw, which is a yet another creation of mine. This is a new board game that I've been working on for a while, and we're going to play that over on Tabletop Simulator to close out the night.
Nice. So can I introduce the first game?
I insist on it.
Okay. Coming to you live from St. Paul, Minnesota, it's Ben Burns with his game. We love Ben because he loves his cats, and his game is called Pawndemonium. Not paw like a cat, but pawn like a chess piece.
Yes.
You got a lot of
Yeah,
details
thank you.
in there.
I am a big
I do
fan
love
of
cats.
Ben Burns because he has lots of cat things on his social media feeds.
Yes. We have 4 cats, and they tend to show up a lot.
Wait, 4 cats? I thought it was only like
Yes.
2.
No, we have 4 cats.
Ah, I love cats.
They're
Okay.
wonderful.
So if somebody wanted to play this game, how would they do it? I know we have Evan in the chat room standing by to play. You want to say hi, Evan?
Hi, Evan.
Okay, we'll
Hello,
accept
Evan.
that.
So this Pawndemonium is essentially kind of a mix between a tower defense style game and a chess style game and kind of a turn-based game. Essentially what you're doing is waves of enemies or pawns spawn every turn, and you have to create pieces and strategize where you place those pieces to defend your rank, which is the bottom row, and you have to assault the enemy rank, which is the top row. The point of the game is to get a pawn or multiple pawns of yours into the enemy's top row to win.
All right.
And-
You want me to start with the tutorial here? Or...
If you wanted to, it's a little wordy. I need to pare that down a little bit, but essentially, yeah, there's a handful of mechanics that are different from most chess games because multiple pawns are spawning at once and stuff like that.
Well, I think we should run through the tutorial then, just to sort of you can get a good idea as
Yeah.
to. I mean, that it needs to some improvement, but you can get kind of a idea of what those pain points are.
Yeah, feel free to go through it. Feel free to ask any questions if you have any. I'll make sure to write those down. But, yeah, I'll be quiet
right.
and you can let me know.
Okay, so Evan, you are all hooked into the...
I am.
All right. So you did this using Parsec. So if you are watching the stream right now and you are like, that seems like a really great thing to do, I wish I could play this game, or I wish I could play the next game, download Parsec, and then also you can find instructions on how to join and play live with us in that upper left-hand corner, bit.ly/TC Playtest.
Some great host duties you're performing there, Dale.
Thanks. Usually I get out of it by asking Lane questions.
Yeah.
How would I do that, Lane? But I'm on top of things today.
By the way, Evan, as you're going through this, you might recall our good buddy Kirby, who playtested your game Asterisk, which we should really plug later on. And what he was so good at is giving us a kind of a stream of consciousness about what he enjoyed, what he didn't like, what he was confused by as he was going along. So you want to give us a little narration?
Yeah, sure. Do you want me to read this as I go, or
Yeah, that would actually be great. Yeah.
Dramatically, if possible.
Dramatic. You're asking for a lot. I am not the voice actor for my game. All right. Material is the currency you use to interact with the board. Earn material by ending your turn capturing non-pawn enemy pieces and bringing pawns to the top row. Spend material to create your pawns and upgrade your pieces. I guess fair enough. I think that's pretty much what you said originally.
I do have one quick bit of feedback there. The thing you don't know when you read that is that the board starts out empty, and that you have no pieces to begin with. I think that's context I think players need when they start.
Possibly, but it's also self-evident when they actually start the game.
Right, but they're reading
I see what you're
instructions
saying
before they start playing the game, so they can't quite
Yeah.
digest. It's not that it's that hard to figure out exactly. It's just that one piece.
That's a good point. Yeah.
All right. On your turn, you can spend your material to create pawns, upgrade pieces, or move pieces. When you're done, click and turn. Unused materials carried over to the next turn. Then black will advance and make any valid attacks, if any. And I assume valid attacks is then normal chess movements, not
Yes.
or playing pieces, or same thing I can do, I guess.
Yep.
Okay.
Love that sizzling red arrow. That's cool.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
you gotta get the
that's what I
YouTube
was
clicks.
gonna ask.
All right. Pawns that make it to the Pawns that make it to the other end of the board lock those squares. Only pawns can enter the opposing start squares. You will need to be clever to get there. The row of icons at the top and bottom of the board indicate how many tiles you need to lock before you win, and how many of your own tiles can be locked before you lose. A row of icons. Okay, so 4 or 5. Got it. All right. During your turn, you may click any
go
empty
back.
tile.
It says fill to lose. I thought that was just funny notation. Fill to win.
Yeah.
Fill to lose.
Well, I didn't really know how to word that.
I don't know either, because I don't have a better suggestion. I just think it's funny.
I mean, if your goal is to lose, I guess that's one.
Right.
I don't like this game. I'll lose really quick.
Oh no.
Next.
All right. During your turn, you may click any empty tile on the bottom row to place a pawn there. This costs 1 material. After a pawn is placed, you may then move. That's
Oh shoot! Thank
maybe
you.
a typo.
Yes, it is.
After a pawn is placed, you may then move or upgrade it as normal. Or I guess it works.
This
either way.
tutorial has gone through many iterations, and apparently that is a casualty of it. So I will fix
That's
that.
a classic sign of rewriting a sentence. It's like
Yeah,
material
yeah.
is left behind. Yeah, happens all the time.
All right, I'm curious to see how upgrading works, because I guess I can't really tell by here, but maybe it's in the
Well, then
next
you can
step.
click next, and I think
Oh,
that's
there
the...
we go. Okay. During your turn, you may click any of your pieces to open a menu with manually move, promote. That's a little weird too. To
I should put
manually
those in.
move, promote, or activate for that piece.
Yeah, that's another typo. The problem is that this is all in like one big Photoshop document, and then I'm kind of exporting it all. So yeah, it's
What are
definitely
you
needs to
making
be-
this with? Just because I'm curious.
Tutorial?
Well, these are static images in the tutorial.
I guess I meant the full game. Sorry, like a game
Okay.
engine.
Oh, this is made in Unity. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, because you can totally just make this UI text in Unity to make it a little easier on yourself, maybe.
I could, but yeah, it's
Yeah,
the e-learning
it's
designer in me where it's just like if it's just one big block, it's easier for me to just like chunk through it. But in there's
Yeah.
cases like this, it's where all of
Yeah,
a sudden I have big issues.
So
but yeah, I
is
can
there
fix
a
those.
difference? Is there a regular move versus a manual move?
No. All moves are manual on the white pieces, your pieces.
Okay. So maybe you don't need the word manual.
Yeah. Yeah, it just needs to be punched up a little bit.
Okay, gotcha. Sorry, I'm just thinking out loud.
Nope.
I mean, other than
Raw
that's
Dale.
perfect.
we're catching a couple copy editing things here, but and you were worried about it being a little wordy. I don't think that's a huge problem. Like, it seems to be pretty clear, and you can get through it pretty quickly. I mean, maybe
Yes.
it's always a goal to get it done faster with fewer words, because we all know players don't read. But I don't know if it's as big of a problem as you think. It doesn't seem to be like a torturous experience so far.
Yeah, and then again, that goes back to the e-learning designer in me, where I want to make this as fast as possible. And I feel like I did an okay job, but there's a lot of pages, and like the last 5 or 6 pages is just talking about how chess pieces move in general. So if you understand how chess works, you probably don't need to read those.
You need a little button that says, "Tell me about chess."
Yeah.
It should say something more specific, otherwise, it will just open to a 3-hour video of Ben talking about chess.
Yes, yeah.
Well,
I'll just open a
chess.
YouTube video. Yeah.
All right, you can move pieces by using the radio menu or by clicking and dragging the piece. Each piece can be moved for free once per turn. Extra moves will cost material. A white pip in the piece's stat will indicate whether the piece is moved this turn or not. So, I honestly think this image almost does a great job of that.
I did my best. It's one of the more
Yeah.
visually noisy ones, but I
Yeah.
tried very hard to make sure that was very clear.
I was going to make a comment on the font, because I definitely read it first as HRS move and then as was moved. So, I mean, like, I tend to read over things really quickly. You should have me read newspaper headlines to you, because they're completely wrong, but that's just one thing I noticed.
I mean, generally, all caps with tight spacing those are the two things that kill legibility.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
so it's not
I'm actually-
necessarily just me.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, no. And also the black stroke around the text doesn't work super well. I think I'm going to change it to white, and that should make it a little bit clearer.
Okay.
So, but yes, that's good feedback. I'm actually editing the document while we're talking.
Oh, that's
So,
perfect.
Yes.
That was my flaw when being on here, is not taking enough notes and then not going back to the video quick enough.
Yeah.
All right. Attacking a piece deals damage to the defending piece. If the defending piece survives, it deals damage to the attacking piece. If the attacking piece survives, this process repeats until one piece is captured. If the attacking piece wins, it takes the defending piece's place. Okay, so a health mechanic added to chess.
Okay, and this is where, if I was just reading this, I would not understand if it's every turn it happens, so you have time to run away,
Yeah.
or if it's
No,
all
I think
within.
it was.
It introduces the idea as like, oh, unlike chess, you just deal it damage when you attack, but then you read on, and it says, and then this happens over and over until the turn is done. And I think maybe just presenting that in a different way, because it's like it's an autocomplete RPG battle. Is what happening? Is that right, Ben?
Yes, correct.
But
This is essentially
it doesn't cross my mind that that's what it is until I'm almost through this whole bit of text. So I kind of change my understanding of what it is as I read it. Am I making sense?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
you're
think
making
it's
sense to
mostly
me.
Understandable here.
Yeah,
with
once you get to the end, you're like, oh, I understand. It's just a little
Yeah,
bit of a speed bump or two along the way.
I would say add a minus here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
a
good
Ooh.
symbol or something.
Initially, I had like a little attack a sword or something next to it, but it was really hard to read. But I think a minus is a really good compromise there, so I'm gonna toss that in there.
You
Alright.
just lost Mark with these damage numbers.
Well, I mean, kind of true, but also if you go back one real quick, I can kind of demonstrate here. I'll take control of the mouse for a minute. So you've got the number here, and Ben, you'll probably see this a couple seconds late because you're watching the stream.
Yeah.
But you have the red number above, which indicates how much damage was done on that last turn. But there's the actual number down here is 2, how much hit points is left, compared to 5 in the previous. I would just circle this 2. And you know what I mean? As indicating the change from 5, rather than have to. And that's independent of my general disdain for damage numbers flying off of characters. In a tutorial, you're allowed to do that, but I think you could do it a little bit more elegantly, even in this context.
Yeah. Okay. No, that makes sense.
But you might want to test
I
it
was
with
just
the
worried that
negative, because I might be entirely wrong. It might be easier to understand with a big old -3. So just
my big worry is that text is a little small.
Yeah.
But
well, you
But
can
it's
blow it up.
also nice to what you should do is take a circle and put a stick on it, and then it becomes magnifying glass, and then you make it bigger.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that could work.
You know, the
That's
good
so much
old
work
stick
now. Yeah.
stick circle. But it is really helpful to like realize that stat is there. And of course, this is
Yes.
coming from a player who would not have read this. I would have hit close or next.
And truthfully, what you want instead of a 4-panel comic strip, you want an animated GIF here. But you can imagine doing that later. There's a lot of work. Sometimes you don't want to bother, but like that would be the best way is just to demonstrate it, actually happening.
Yes.
But if you were like, you know what, that's too much, I don't want to bother with that, then this 4-panel thing will still work just fine.
Can you put GIFs in Unity?
Super.
Oh,
good.
I would
you
imagine.
can.
I'm working on a project right now where that's like a big design pillar of the game. Actually, is specifically importing animated GIFs. So, but you can do image sequences, or you can actually just simulate.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you did it in.
I can.
Video files in the game.
You just actually just have a simulated game stage. You've got experience with that. So.
That's true.
Not that it's easy.
It's true.
But...
No, it's not easy, but it's not hard either. It's
You just
something
put
that has to
it
get
put it
done.
in as a sprite sheet and split it, put it right in as an animation. Play it.
Yep. Yeah, there's an animator
Hold on.
thing.
I'll be back in 1 second. A cat found a cricket, and I need to get that out of the
Yay! It's a cat.
I'll be
We're
back in
talking
1
about
second.
cats.
Cat activity makes us feel excited.
Don't eat that, he says. Okay.
Special abilities.
All right.
Ooh.
All right. Each piece can execute a unique special ability if you have enough material. The knight can
Okay,
attack
I'm back. Sorry about
attack
that.
up to 3 times, but only attack knights.
I think it means it can't do anything other than attack.
Oh, but only attack. I gotcha. Okay. Yeah,
But
I
that's
read
not
that
totally
weird.
clear. Yeah.
It could use a comma.
Yeah. Bishop heals all friendly pieces in a radius.
Okay. So then I would have a
Mm.
question. What's the radius?
What's the radius? Yeah. I figure
Well-
there will be something.
There's a contextual preview.
Yeah.
Like for that.
Okay.
Okay. Attack all pieces in a line. Queen will do damage to pieces in all 8 directions. All right, that's pretty good. And king will swap positions with a friendly piece.
Oh, infinite castle.
Yeah. If you have enough material.
I do not
So-
get the infinite castle reference.
There's a thing a king can do. They can swap places at the very beginning before they've moved to create a little castle around them of other pieces. And that's a move you can do, but it's a very limited. You can only do it in very specific scenarios. So Ben has just sort of extended that thematically just to give the king a ability to use whenever.
I had no idea because I didn't watch the 3-hour YouTube video on chess.
Ooh.
It's such a weird rule in chess. I don't know, and I haven't watched enough chess tournaments, but I don't know how often it happens. It's such a strange.
It happens
game.
fairly frequently.
Does it
Yeah,
really? Okay.
I would say both players every game almost.
Yeah, it's a very valuable move because it protects your
Yes.
king against a lot of different angular attacks.
Ben and I can play real chess after this.
It just seems like it limits your strategy, but it's so defensively valuable that of course you would do it
Yes.
every game.
Well, if we wanted to deviate a little bit, it's not only valuable defensively, but it also brings your rook into the middle of the board, which makes it more powerful.
Yeah.
So you're not only defending your king, but you're also activating a piece and getting it closer to the action instead of stuck in the corner.
Yeah.
Mm.
Especially at queen's side. Especially. Anyway.
Every time I hear like more details about like chess meta, the more I realize that like Fisher's random chess is what just chess should be. You guys know what I'm talking about?
I think I've heard of that before.
But yeah, I played
Bobby
enough
Fischer
of
was
those
frustrated by how
playing
boring chess was, and so he just came with a version where you just randomized the back row pieces, and then it was even on both sides, and then you just played chess. And that made it's just like it was perfectly balanced, but then all of the meta was gone. And that made chess interesting again, and it didn't make it any less valuable to a grandmaster.
There's
like
some app that does those.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called, but anyway. All right. If a black pawn has locked one of your tiles, you can unlock it for a price. Click on a locked tile for the menu option to unlock it. So 5 to unlock this one. That's pricey.
Is there a thing that locks, or is it like a lock is an ability that the other player has?
When the pawn hits the end, it locks.
Oh, locks when
that's the
tiles.
win
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
that's the win and lose state for the game.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
like
I
that
sort of
essentially.
misread that, yeah.
Yeah, it's all good.
All right. Pawns can only move forward 1 tile. If a pawn is never moved, it may move forward 1 or 2 tiles. Kind of makes this only seem weird. I know you're explaining the chess rule almost the same, but pawns can only capture at a forward diagonal. If blocked by a locked or impassable tile, not another piece, the pawn can move left or right. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the rest of this just
Wow.
talks about normal chess piece movements, but that's a non-traditional chess rule
Yeah,
that I had to
definitely.
add just so that the board doesn't get completely gummed up, which still happens sometimes. But
Well, let me make a question. Non-traditional chess rule. That's a strange phrase because that's not. It's not like a rule. Is it a rule from a variation of chess, or is it just a rule you made up?
I would just say
if you
non-chess rule.
yeah, I guess that's fine. If you consider this a variation of chess, then yes.
Right.
But
That's
But I would mean, contextually, that's like, oh, I don't know enough about chess, but apparently that's a rule in non-traditional types of chess.
Oh,
But
I
really-
would call
I
it
can-
non-traditional pawn movement.
It'd be fun.
Yeah,
It'd be
that
nice to have a
actually-
terminology of
yeah.
your own for like this is a Pawndemonium rule, like or something.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That's
I
not,
like
Well,
that.
this
that's
is
a
the
little bit
only one.
unglamorous, but
This is the only one.
this is the only
This is
that has
the
it,
only
so-
one.
this is the only one.
Ah.
Okay,
Alright,
never
can
mind
it
then.
capture left and right? I'll just ask.
I don't believe so. I honestly can't remember. I'd have to look at the code.
All right, well, we'll aim to try it. I guess.
Somebody's gonna try it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, is this non-traditional pawn movement part of the last version? Because I don't remember that, and I would have, and I think
it
I would have.
honestly happens very rarely.
Really?
So you
Okay.
might not have encountered it.
Okay, because that feels like something I would have paid attention to if all of a sudden the piece that I thought was blocked was not
Yeah.
blocked.
Well, I have 2 thoughts on that then. If it's the only one of these rules, and it doesn't happen that often, is it so damaging to play that it really is required? Like, could you get away with not having this rule?
Not
Says
really.
It gums
Okay.
things up.
Right.
One of the problems is if that, like in that example that's on the screen, if that tile is locked and that pawn is sitting there, it's doing literally nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
I needed a way to shuffle things around so the board state kept moving and it just didn't pile up on that row or that
Yeah.
column.
But wouldn't the goal for wouldn't the if I'm the player that locks that tile and to block that pawn, isn't that shouldn't I be reward? Like, it just seems kind of. I mean, the player can
Black
unlock the
lock
tile, right?
that.
They
No,
can pay
black
to unlock it.
blocked that tile.
black
is the
locked it.
problem. And then black is
Yeah.
also moving down, so they're blocking their own piece at this point.
Then isn't
Yeah,
isn't
but
just a
that feels
strategic
good
failure
to
then?
me because I'm like, haha, I tricked your pawn into taking my pawn and now
Yeah.
it's stuck and can't do shit. Excuse me. I forgot.
That's a
I
good
mean,
point.
I can-
Like,
I
can
see
look into
it,
other
but-
ways of-
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
see if it
Well,
happens.
we're coming into this from a place of profound ignorance. I would not
Oh,
point
no,
the finger
and
at the
Yeah.
creator of Death Bus and tell the world that he is going to make an inelegant game. I'm sure that we're going to feel why that's necessary before too long.
Okay.
Yeah, my only concern is just about like if it's just the one. If there were like 6 or 7 of these non-standard rules, then it would feel of a piece. But just one feels a little bit like a band-aid.
Okay.
So that's why I'm sort of
Ju-
wondering. The other thing I have about
kind
this
of
game
is,
before we
but,
move
yeah.
on is some of the language you use is you use the word capture, but it really should be attack, because that's how this game works, right?
That's true.
Yeah, I like that.
Yep. Good point.
Okay. Next slide.
Let's go.
Click.
All right, nice move in an L shape, out 2 squares, then perpendicular 1 square. Knights can also move over occupied tiles.
Okay, so knights move like knights.
Normal knight movement.
Mm-hmm. You could say knights are the only. Well, I mean, just for people who don't already know, because you haven't specified in previous slides that other characters can't. So maybe here you could just say knights are the only character that can do that. Then you don't have to ever mention it again.
Oh yeah. I mean, I talk about rooks and bishops, and I just say they can't move through other pieces. So it's it's a little bit more text, I guess, my way. But yes,
Yeah.
I see what you mean. I also want to be clear.
It depends
that
who your
each-
audience is too.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
if you're expecting people to know a minor amount of chess, I don't think most of this is an issue.
Chess is unique too,
Yeah.
and it feels like it's like those that it's so in the zeitgeist and has been for so long that like people who've never played a game of chess probably know all these things.
I don't know. We have to find some person who has not played chess. So if you haven't played chess and you're in the stream, raise your electronic hand, I guess, because we're just interested.
Yeah, some of it's just I'm just imagining some of these clarifications that we're suggesting might just be academic, you know.
Yeah.
You still want to
I
consider them, but
yeah.
it's not going to be a huge problem for players to understand. I think you're in a good place, even if it isn't perfectly clear.
Yeah, I imagine that the people who would be interested in a game like this are already interested in the idea of chess.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if there would be a lot of people who have never played chess before and then are like, oh, I'll try
I'm
this
gonna play
zany
this
version of it.
Yeah.
Which
thing called
there might be, and that's
Pawndemonium.
it's completely valid, and I want to make sure that I have at least a semi-robust tutorial on how the game's generally played.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't want to have like 50 pages of tutorial to like go through all the minutia. So I agree that there are some things that are a little vague, but I'm also trying to make this tutorial as quick as possible so the people who do read the tutorial can get through it without spending 20 minutes and then get into the game.
You mean 30 minutes like we are?
Well, we're also reading it out
No,
loud.
Yeah, we're supposed
Yeah.
to.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
This is the
No,
correct
no.
pace for our purposes.
Keep this pedantry going. I am looking forward to this for my board game.
Okay. Yeah, the other thing I would say is if you could have like a topic sentence where it's like bishops move the same way they do in chess, then I could skip the rest of the stuff rather than reading through it. Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, there's
Next
like
one.
seven. There's like 7 correct approaches. To
Yes.
this, ultimately.
Let's tell you
imagining
about
that,
all of
like-
them.
I'm imagining that like Minecraft where they have like that note that just kind of hangs out in the top right, like same as chess. Like I don't know if that's too obscure. Anyway.
I'm imagining it like that, like new triangle on the corner of your like wheat thins
Oh,
or
the
whatever.
little warning
Says,
sign. Yeah.
Oh.
No. Blah blah, and then like it says same as chess, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna not read this. Just kidding, I never read the first thing. Okay, keep going.
Oh no. All right. All right. Queen and king movement. Queens can move in any direction, and they can move as far as they want without moving through another piece. Kings can also move in any direction, but only one tile at a time.
Perfect.
So same as chess, and I think that's the end.
Yes.
All right.
Close.
So one quick last thing about movement is because
Yes.
in chess, your movement can end on an opponent's piece because you can capture it. But in this game, it doesn't work that
Yes.
way. When you attack, there's 2 outcomes. Either you do end up on that piece, on that square, because you've successfully defeated, or you die. Right? Those are the only 2 outcomes. There's no draw. There's no move, attack, but then end up at the space before, or anything like that, right?
Nothing like that. No.
Okay.
All right. See what we got.
Okay. In the meantime, I wanted to comment on this music, which is Ben. I'm assuming you are the composer, as I know
Yes.
many details of your life that you also love music.
Yes.
I mean, it's cats
so
where you live, like the city you live in, and that you compose.
Yeah, Dale has exhausted facts about you.
Yep. I know nothing else about you.
It's only the important things. Yes, I actually finished this soundtrack very recently. I'm very proud of it.
It sounds great. I will
So-
tell you that I'm wearing headphones right now, and I had to take off my headphones to figure out if it was playing in the room or was playing through my headphones? And the answer was it's playing through my headphones.
It's that well. There's that much of a soundstage in the mix. Nice.
Yeah.
So maybe this is just unimplemented, but the stars don't match here. The difficulty down here.
Well, that the stars means how many stars you've acquired through that. So basically, the difficulty is you'll earn stars or whatever. If you click on select style, you can basically just
oh my God.
use those stars to change various things, like the piece and
so
the board style and stuff.
Or custom, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I was trying to find some way to make the game a little bit more interesting to encourage people to play through all the levels and play through the difficulties and stuff like that. So
I think Evan's question was about the using stars also in the difficulty button. It might be a little confusing.
These don't match, or these match but don't is I guess what I meant.
Right, the style is
I see what you're saying.
Too.
Like, I guess it seems like stars are difficulty rating and your purchase.
Well, if you beat the level with 2 stars, 2 of those stars will turn gold.
Okay, I got you.
Oh, okay. In that case, the stars should be the same because right now they actually are slightly differently designed.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think I see what you're saying.
I
mostly did the stars and the difficulty thing because it's a font and I didn't want to bother with.
That's perfect.
I took the cheap route, and I understand that there's a little confusion there.
So you can move the turn you place, which maybe I wasn't expecting.
And since it hasn't moved before, or it's in the bottom row, or whatever you want to say, it can move 2, which you did.
The AI
so I
didn't
moved 2 and then 1. And the AI didn't move on their initial turn, I guess, even though I did.
Presumably there's some strategy to that,
I forgot
AI
to
is
play
hard.
another guy, huh?
Okay. The other thing I was going to say is I would have used the term boards instead of levels.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I do enjoy Spawn Pawn. That's charming.
It is a fun kind of alliteration, yes, or more of a rhyme, I guess.
Dude, this is sweet. So what is the +1 on intern mean? Does that mean you're gonna gain the material?
Yes.
Nice.
I feel that that's reasonably understandable that that's what happens, but I also wanted to make sure that like in the spawn pawn prompt it does say -1 just so you understand like what's happening.
Yeah. I like this actually, this I guess opaque or
Yeah.
I think your home row, your first row, and your opponent's first row are important for 2 reasons. It's where you spawn, and then it's ultimately where you'll lock the other. So I feel like those rows should be, in a slight modification to chess, those rows should be colored differently.
Oh, that animation is sweet. I love that.
Yeah, the little kick, yeah.
Yeah, that is cool.
Oh yeah.
It's so good.
I was trying to find ways to juice up the game a little bit, and
we did our first kill.
Yeah, having the animated background as well as like flicking the pieces off the board.
I've been enjoying that skew. It looks so good. Oh, can you hit like space to end the turn?
No, but that's I did this completely mouse driven, so I didn't want to have like keyboard interactions at all. But having space to end the turn
letting me
isn't
move
bad.
again. So dragging a piece that I can't move still gave me the highlight for a second. Just hovering gives me the potential moves even after he's moved.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I just maybe wasn't expecting it at first.
Yeah.
Am I playing this am I playing this how you would expect me to?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're doing great. You're moving your pieces, you're capturing pieces, you're defending your home board. That's pretty much what it is. It like I said, it's kind of like a tower defense. Like you have waves of enemies and you want to make sure that you protect your home base, but you also have to move forward and you have to like make sure that you're on the offensive as well.
Are you able to move one piece more than once in a turn?
Yes, but it costs material.
Oh, okay.
Which
Cool.
I keep spending my material, I guess. is the
Yeah,
other
I think
problem.
it costs 2 material to move a piece, an additional time. And honestly, when you get into the later parts of the game, it's a little overpowered. I might change the way that's handled. But yeah, there are ways to move multiple times, which is very useful.
So if I click, okay, because I don't have enough material, I figure it doesn't show me the move
Yeah.
option there.
Yep, exactly.
I think that little pip that denotes whether a character is moved or not, because you have this monochrome style, I think that is a little hard to recognize.
Well, I totally missed it. Yeah.
And I think the way you could do that is just by having like a different sprite asset when they are, or when you have the spawn pawn that's kind of half transparent. It's not super elegant, but just a little bit more of a understanding of which of the pawns on my board can I actually use right now.
Okay, well, I didn't realize that I could always upgrade, so that changes things. For some reason, I thought I was locked out from that, but this makes more sense.
You might have thought that because that's how promotion works in proper chess. You had to wait to do that to that back row.
Oh, but I can't move the knight to the back row to take that.
Nope.
Only pawns.
Nope, you can't.
Right?
You can't move
Okay.
the only pawns can go in the back row.
Yeah.
Alright.
There are a lot
But
of
you
like
can
rules in this
promote
game that feel really, really like structurally sound, but also really go against your sense memory for how chess works.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I was expecting to take that pawn, maybe not lock a box, right? But I was expecting to take that pawn. All right.
You could have. I mean, I think it would make a lot of sense to allow you other pieces to go to the back row. They just wouldn't be able to lock the space.
Yeah.
I think that would encourage spawn camping, really.
Mhm.
So you
I
could
suppose,
just
but-
put powerful pieces in the back row, and then it would basically just lock the board until you had enough material to win. Which
Maybe you could counter that by a character, because it costs 1 material to spawn a pawn. Maybe it costs 2 or 3 to spawn on top of an opponent's piece, and then it becomes about a strategy. Like I can put my queen or my knight or my bishop in the opponent's home row, and I could leave it there, but then I no longer have access to that powerful piece, and the opponent, if they have enough material, can pay to squash me.
That sounds like making
Possibly.
a hard
I mean,
AI.
it seems like it's adding a little bit extra complexity when it really doesn't need it.
Mhm.
I understand what you're saying, and that's not a bad thing, but
Right, I'm not proposing it just as a way to solve it. I'm thinking that like there's definitely a lot of being barred from entering that row is non-intuitive. I think, and I think you can open up a lot of strategic possibilities, not just complexities. You know.
Mhm.
So you only need 3 to lock it.
Yeah, in higher difficulty levels,
And-
you need to do more to
Okay.
excuse
Okay.
me. Yeah. So and
Yes,
this is also like the
yes.
first level, so
Yeah.
Okay, so here are my comments. I think that if you're going to go with nothing but pawns can be in the back row of your opponent, I do like the idea of making both your home row and your opponent's home row like a different color scheme, or like
Sure.
a darker version, because I think that really reminds you that this row is different.
It also gives the opportunity to have different. You could have a board where the spawn points are not the home row. They're somewhere else. And if the notation is a color scheme, then it opens up more level design.
Oh, that's true. That's a cool
sounds-
idea.
Wait.
that
Is
is a
this-
cool idea, but I would have to rebuild the entire game for that to happen.
Yeah, that sounds like
Well, don't do that then.
a lot of work. That sounds like Pawndemonium 2. The pawns are taking over
Yeah.
material. So in this one, you have to get more to win than you do to lose.
Yes, and the other one was like that too. I think it was 4-3
Oh,
or
was it?
3-2 or something.
Is that like a balance
Um,
versus the state of the AI?
It's a balance, and it's also this board is wider, so it's easier to get through.
Yeah.
So it really depends. all of the levels still need a little bit of balancing. I feel that the game's a little too easy, and I didn't know if that was because I've just been playing it a lot, or if it's just that I haven't made the AI, or not the AI, but like the wave generator aggressive enough.
Maybe we should
it
crank it up to 4 stars at some point here. Really see?
Yeah. I can do that for the next one.
It definitely seems like you've got the hang of it. Like for somebody who's just picked up.
Help us calibrate. What is your elo, Evan?
I am at 1,000 maybe.
Oh wow! Nice.
I play 5 minute.
Cool.
I'm at 1,000 in 5 minute.
Wait.
Okay, we have a 4-star tester.
Did you get Evan to play this game because he is whatever an ELO test matter?
He didn't know that.
We met in the speed chat room. Yes.
Well,
imagine
no wonder Evan knows about that king thingy.
He did not. He had no idea.
yes. That's what it's become for 400 years. That king thingy.
I did not know about it because I do not like chess.
Oh, so I kind of screwed this pawn. Oh, well, no, because you added that rule. So I can push him. Okay.
That's something an 800 elo could never do.
This is why I was thinking that extra rule is not necessary, because then you have a motivation to not lock that space. Because
yeah,
block one of your,
agreed. Yeah,
or that's a great pawn to make into a knight.
Oh, you know what? This is going to be like the biggest ask. This is going to be the biggest ask for you as a game dev, maybe. It would be great to have what like chess websites have, where I could go back and look at the previous moves.
That actually wouldn't be too hard to create a kind of a log.
Because like he just said, he commented on like my move like 2 turns ago, or 2 moves ago. It would be great if I could just hit a back button to like revert the board, just to show. Because like I had a pawn in this square previously.
That is a great idea that will not make it into the original release of the game.
Pawndemonium 2.
Well, not even Pawndemonium 2. It'll just be a feature, like it'll be a patch.
Okay. Very well.
Because it's a great idea. It's just I want to get this game out in a month or 2, and that might take a couple weeks to develop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fair.
But yeah, I think that's a great idea to create kind of a move log.
I would never look at it because I would think it was boring, and I don't like chess.
That's okay. This game is not for you, and that's fine.
Actually, Dale, I think this is different enough from chess that I don't think you'd have any trouble with this game.
I would not have trouble with this game. I definitely remember like moving a lot quicker. Well, like first of all, because I had to figure out like all the rules of it. Mm-hmm. Just take that piece.
I almost like just wanted to do that extra move though, that like new move.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Do that new move and block
just
that
to feel
one
it move sideways.
Yeah, just to oh, that feels pretty good. Yeah. Oh no, I forgot. I've been just playing chess this whole time until then.
You forgot that it would take you down, yeah.
I did a dumb.
And that's why I did the attack system, because it felt really bad for a pawn to take a queen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what you can do is just turn your rook into a pawn. And
what?
And then you can just turn your rook back into a pawn, and then you can
downgrade them.
Oh, downgrade. Oh, look at that.
and that's one of the things that I meant by you have to be clever to actually get to the end, because some of the later levels get so clogged up.
Strategic demands on the player, because you never. I guess because I'm thinking a lot about this, like how chess is, which is like you have to think a couple turns ahead. But it seems like, and maybe this is to the benefit of the game for a lot of players, is you can always get yourself. You can never put yourself in a jam you can't get out of.
That's not necessarily true, because you're spending a lot of material to make a piece, move that piece, and then make it back into what it was. So you're spending a lot of your
right. You're not doing it efficiently, but there's no fatal errors necessarily the way there can be.
Yeah, and I can also make it so like converting back to a pawn costs like 4 instead of 1, and that would definitely make it more.
I like that,
because it's such a powerful. You get so much, because if you have you turn it into a queen, you destroy your opponents, and then you can go ahead and turn it back into a pawn and lock a piece. It seems like that's such a powerful thing that it should be very costly.
Yep, that's a good point. On the list.
Yeah, I think
Nice.
the point I was sort of making about strategy is I think people who, like you say, people who are interested in chess just thematically, even if they're not doing a lot of experience with chess, would be interested in this game. But I think they might turn against some of the more the RPG tactics versus actual placement strategy that chess has. You know?
Yeah. No, absolutely, and I definitely want to make sure that there's a balance there, and it's a little hard to find, but I know I'll
background
find
changed to horses.
It does. It changes to whatever pieces you upgraded to last.
It's beautiful.
That's cool, yeah.
Thank you.
I think
I was very happy with the shader that I made for that. That's the first time I've ever programmed a shader before, and it made me really happy too.
It's so good.
Did you use a shader graph?
No, this was actually programmed by hand because I
look at
really
you.
wanted to learn. Well, I really wanted to learn in shader graph. I don't know if it has kind of the functionality. For I know shader graph has some limitations.
Yeah, it's nice, but it's very much like a node editor, like a visual effects node editor. Can't really learn how to write shaders using it.
I love it.
Yeah,
it's great.
Oh,
it
it's
really
awesome.
is. For a lot of
definitely
frankly, it is kind of all you need. It's just a different environment.
Yeah.
But like obviously I was inspired by games like Earthbound for that kind of. If you've never played Earthbound, a lot of the battles have these kind of trippy background things.
I wish there was something to tell me how much it costs to upgrade. Like if this screen had the other options, but
yeah, I was considering graying out the options that weren't available, but that the radio menu would get kind of clogged.
Or even just like you have a lot of dead space on the left and right too.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
just like,
even just having
that's a good point.
Yeah.
Right, you could have
over some of those horsey guys.
It changes
yeah,
some of
because
the UX.
I keep clicking like how to look at it, but I don't have enough, so I can't actually see it.
Yeah.
It changes some of the UX, but you could have like instead of a radial menu, you could just have think of it like an old point and click adventure, like look at or touch. The commands at the bottom of the screen. You could have move. You click move, then you click which piece you want to move. Or I mean, you could have both work, but.
That's what I had originally, actually. I had like a list of buttons on the right-hand side that allowed you to do kind of your things. But I really liked how fast, like once you get used to the interface, how fast you can kind of play a game because everything's right where you need it to be. But I agree that the radial menu could use like the other options grayed out so you can see the cost.
Yeah.
Folks, it might be time to ask Ben, are you liking what you're seeing here? This is a first-time player breezing through. I mean, not to discount how good at this game Evan is, but going through 4-star difficulty without a whole lot of challenge.
Well, the narrow levels I've found are a lot easier because you don't have to worry as much about pawns spawning in a wide area. So they're all kind of funneled into the same area, which is fine. Like, I don't want this game to be like blazingly hard. I do think that the 3 and 4-star difficulty could use a bump in difficulty, I guess. Simply because for things like this, all you have to do is kind of control the top end of the board, and that's pretty much it. But again, as somebody who knows kind of how chess works, it's a lot easier because you kind of understand how the pieces move and how they control the board over time.
I'm a little struck by how many actions Evan had in that turn.
Like
when
it's fun.
That's true. That's very empowering.
So I think this is my favorite part though, right here, where I have this knight and I can change him into a pawn and just say screw you bishop at first, but then I forget that we do the attack and he dies. God damn it. That's funny.
Yeah, maybe the secret to making the 3 and 4-star things harder is to spawn more non-pawns.
Yes. Yeah, I need to. The wave generator in this game is a little dumb right now.
Ooh, see, that was smart. It was smart there. It blocked me though.
Well, that move you just made is smart too, because if it spawns a pawn in its empty space, you can capture it. So you can just camp out until it does that.
What can I do here? I guess
Make a
Oh,
dude.
can you
I would say
attack
stay
sideways?
tight. Just make some more pawns.
You cannot attack sideways, apparently. So, in the
Oh.
tutorial, it said the pawns can only move sideways, and I was wondering if that was like literally what it was. And yeah, they can only move left or right if they're blocked forward. So no, you cannot attack left or right.
But there
So that's good to
it
know.
gave me the win at the end, though.
Yeah.
It's probably because their helmets block their view.
It's
Yeah,
like,
that
the
makes
AI
sense.
doesn't know that
Well,
that
it blocked
action would've
me
been
with the
win.
bishop previously.
Yeah,
It felt
yeah.
like, at least.
Yeah. Well,
So-
in that case, like what happened there is there was only one legal place to spawn a pawn, so it did. So that
because it has a set of things that's spawning each round, right? So
yeah.
Pick
Okay,
one
that makes
that has those black spaces in the middle.
yeah.
So yeah, if you go to the later levels, like I started adding like twists to it where there's like spike traps and blocks and conveyor
Right.
belts and
Ooh.
portals and a
What?
bunch of other
Spike
random
trap.
stuff. So yeah, there you go. You play that one.
All right. I
And-
assume the other ones are gonna go this next turn.
Yes. And again, like this doesn't necessarily make the game a ton harder or easier or anything like that. It's just different ways of playing this kind of zany way of playing chess. Like I'm not trying to make the game impossible. I'm just trying to
Yeah.
find fun ways to play with the mechanics that are generated
How
here.
to make it less boring. Oh, so if you walk up to one of those
Yeah, I
block
can see what you're
things,
saying,
do you get to move right or left?
Mhm.
Yeah, it looks like
Yes.
you do.
It looks like there's some proper utility to that move now.
Oh shit. Well, that guy's dead.
Yeah, I think you're playing a little offensively here when you should be playing more.
Oh
defensively.
yeah, probably.
It seems like the drag and drop isn't always catching what you're doing either. I
Yeah,
need to-
it's definitely
I need to fix
missing
that.
on the kind of first
Yeah,
move when it spawns sometimes.
What's happening with that, if I were to get a little technical, is that it's like it has this pop-up menu, but it's also not recognizing when that menu goes away that it's rolled over something.
Yeah.
So I need to figure out how to do that. I thought I had it fixed, but clearly I don't. So I need to look into that again.
Yeah.
Put that in
and
the bugs column.
I think the only thing I don't like about this level right now is that these are dead squares. I don't. You can see my mouse, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
There's,
yeah.
There's
These
no
two
way. There's no way to reach
And
them.
these two. Yeah.
Yeah. You.
Well, once
I
you
mean,
get
it seems kind of sweet.
Oh,
in
I
a
guess
way.
no,
You
no,
can-
I'm wrong. Because once you upgrade, then you can
Yeah.
get there.
Yeah.
Right.
exactly.
But they come into play kind of so rarely still.
Yeah.
And I can see.
I don't know. I
what
think like luring the opponent into them might be a big part of this stage.
It's a lot of fun to just watch them like bounce into it.
Yeah, that death animation is so funny on this
Yeah.
stage in particular.
I'm glad that it resonates. I had a lot of fun putting
There's
it together.
one.
And you'll also notice that the harder difficulties you have to capture more of the pieces on top. And you also have less leeway for losing your own squares.
Yeah.
So
Ben, out
it
of
does get more
curiosity,
difficult.
With that animation that you got going, is that like done on it like just in code, or is that done by like applying a torque to some object someplace?
Oh, flicking the piece off the board?
Yeah.
It is done by it basically removes it from the grid, and then it just takes the game object and just puts some velocity on it and some gravity, and it just kind of just flicks it off.
That's awesome.
Flicks it off the board. Yeah, it was a lot of fun to put together, and it really makes the game feel a little bit more dimensional.
Yeah. Speaking of dimensional, I love that his pawn can just like sort of stand guard over on the left side and block off a lot of opponent material.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's where
And-
those difficult to reach spaces have some value, but like the both of those guarded, or the pawn on the left is guarded from a diagonal attack as well by
Yeah.
and so it's a little bit too easy, I think, to block that.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
okay.
and
So the computer cannot
Mhm.
upgrade its pieces once they're on the board.
No. No, but it really depends. It's completely wave based. And I like the idea is if a piece hasn't moved in too long, like if a pawn is blocked like that, maybe I can put a little counter on it or something where if it hasn't moved in 5 turns, it turns into another piece to maybe keep the flow of the game going.
I mean, that might be an interesting way to do player upgrades. You know?
That's not a bad idea.
Like, I think the thing that's getting me a lot about the strategic components is, like, when you introduce the idea of blocking those pieces, or blocking the row, it's like, oh, right, because then when you block all those places, there's nowhere to spawn new characters. But that's actually not how the game works. But I kind of want it to work that way, but then it would require you to block all the spaces in every level, and it's not balanced for that. And then thinking about how the enemy has different rules for moving, attacking, and spawning than you do, and it just seems like because it is chess, I want it to be much more balanced in terms of what players can do. So like when you say like if a piece stays on the board for a while, then it can upgrade. Like, oh, that's actually really interesting for the player, because then you have to spawn a pawn and resist the temptation to do anything with it. And the more you don't do something with it, the more then you can upgrade it. But it's you have to think strategically about the order in which you do things. That sounds really interesting to me, and it would line up with how the enemy would do it, in a way that you could program the AI for without it being crazy difficult.
I'll have to think about that.
I mean, that's a really bigger change than I think you want to do. So it's not.
It is a significant change, but that doesn't mean that it's a bad idea.
Sure. Well, I think all my ideas are great, but that's just me.
Have we done like a party foul here, Ben, by getting a chess grandmaster in here to test your game?
No, honestly, I appreciate this. Like, I'm always interested in what people who play it who aren't like familiar with chess, but also watching somebody who is familiar with chess. Like, you're playing it in a different way that I play it.
No, I thought I had enough material to change it back into a pawn.
No, you just spent that, yeah.
Where did that piece go?
Ooh, oh my goodness.
Okay.
Things just got real.
So,
yeah, he's got a
while
lot of
we're
stuff.
here...
Oh yeah, where did that piece go? That's weird.
Oh.
It went all the way back to the home row.
Did it go
it did,
here?
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's interesting because you can't attack. You know, if I'm the AI, and I would just spawn rooks and bishops in the home row spaces because they're very hard to attack with pawns. And it's the only thing that can attack.
I can't move. This is actually stuck completely.
Yeah.
Because, all right, I need to.
And you can't turn it into anything else in order to attack. You could turn it in order to move out of the way, I guess. But
yeah.
Well, yeah. Somebody has to save up some material. Okay, Lane, I was going to ask, what game is up next on the docket, and do we need a playtester for it?
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. By the way, I think that we have a really good playtester for this next game. I mean, but the problem is, he's already the guy that is wrecking this game right now.
Okay.
because like part of the reason why I asked Evan to join us here is because his game, sort of similar to the one that I presented a while back, the Space Between Us. His game Asterisk was very high rated in LDJM 48, partially just because he is very, very good at tech art. And our next game, Emery, is a game that I very much enjoy, and it just took home the best multiplayer game in 2DCon. So it's got some things going for it. But Ryan, and don't tell him I said this, but he was telling me that he was looking for some ways to add a little pizzazz to the game. I think that he's going to start marketing it, putting out videos, contacting some people about it. It's about to get real. So at this point, what we want is to find the levers where he can do the least amount of work, but make it look the most amount of more pretty.
Okay, so we definitely want to have Evan do that. And not me, And if somebody else is,
Well, I was gonna say, if I could pick 3 people in the community who are good at making things look good without spending a lot of time on it in the community, I think we have maybe 3 of the foremost people in this room right now. So I'm hoping we can get some good comments on this.
okay. So, but if you are watching the stream and want to play, give a shout out and download Parsec. And the instructions are in the upper left-hand
Are
corner.
these lasers?
What?
What now?
Yes,
those
they're
lasers?
lasers.
now.
Dude,
Oh.
Yeah.
I had been distracting you from the lasers, huh?
Yeah,
That's pretty
this
good.
is,
I like that a lot because it really forces you to think about. It forces you to make. Well, if pawns get zapped immediately because they have the 1 hit point, but it like prevents you from making the obvious easy moves. I like that a lot.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I sort of feel like I was fooled early on. Ben, I don't know if you can do anything with this feedback at all. I'm not even gonna make a suggestion. I'm just gonna give my experience. When I saw the early game, I thought, oh geez, trying to 4-star an early level, that's where the challenge is. But now that I see these levels, I see that you have all kinds of ways to inject challenge. So I was totally fooled. I misplaced where I thought the challenge of the game was.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to find challenge in lots of different places in the game, but yeah, clearly 4 stars still isn't very difficult when it comes to this because you're still on 4-star and you're still blowing through these levels, which is fine. Like I don't want the game to be crazy hard. Like I did Color Jumper and with Death Drives the Bus, I wanted the game to be chill. And I want to make games that are chill, and that's kind of where I'm going with this.
I almost wish that you had some tracker for lowest number of moves.
Yeah.
Because
that's not a bad idea.
That's sort of what I'm aiming for. Like that's what I was aiming for with that level at least. Because my issue early on was maybe that I wasn't using the upgrade system enough.
Yeah.
Like I was just pushing pawns down the board for like those first 2 levels we did, whereas this one, like I feel like I'm getting the hang of using the bishop or knight to really get it across the board, and then to turn it back into a pawn to win or score.
Yeah. And I think that's why pawns it should cost a little bit more to convert back to pawns, because it is easy to just like
portals,
like create a bishop and then just rip across the board and then just switch it back to a pawn.
I'm just like curious of what else is here.
Yeah, check out one of the later levels.
Portals.
Yeah.
There's conveyor belts.
Do it quick. We might not have time for a full game here. We do need to get out
Yeah,
the...
just
Yep.
Here,
just
I'll do the small one.
Okay.
Just 'cause I'm curious
And in
at
the
how they play.
This one
meantime,
looks nasty.
I'm gonna suggest.
this one's really hard.
The Thinker guy, instead of having
Yes.
stars, which means I really liked it, putting little thinker heads to indicate how difficult things are.
Okay. Just a different way to represent those.
Yeah, because I associate stars so much with how good my Uber driver was.
So I found this level to be actually very hard because it discourages against like blitzing to the end and then just
you have to double move here, right? Yeah. So
and conveyor belts cause pawns to attack or cause the pieces to attack whatever it's moving onto, whether it's its own piece or not. So it can get all kind of weird and built up, but it's kind of fun.
Oh, yeah.
The nice thing about making a game that's not serious is that you can just have fun with it.
Uh-huh.
Oh, they attack forward is what you meant. Okay.
Yeah.
That got me there. Yeah, this is an interesting layout because it's going to be hard for me to defend and get, a higher level piece here to contest with that.
Yeah, this level in particular is pretty difficult, so it's one that I threw in there, not expecting it to be as hard as it was, and I might have to tune it a bit. But on 4 stars, again, this is also a very difficult level just because of the difficulty that the game's on. It is beatable. I have beat it before, but I think you have to rely on RNG more than anything else. What was that?
You mean 4 thinkers?
Yeah, 4 thinkers.
Uh,
Oh, that was dumb. I'm like locking myself in place here.
Sorry, Ben. I should have fished around for at least 1,200 elo. I'm sorry.
Yeah, right. I didn't make the cut.
Oh my goodness, that spawn was brutal. I like
So
the wave generation here because you have these huge interest curves where all of a sudden it just gets crazy hard.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to
Yeah,
get
so-
4, not even 3. This is
I just got that the next are waves. So you
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
have a wave coming the next turn.
Yo,
Yeah.
Dale, you're so smart. I didn't notice that. All right.
I was just thinking it was like the next 3 pieces, but it's like the next 3 pieces, like, and the next move, and then a bunch of not.
Yeah. So the wave generator is fairly basic, but it's still it still needs a little bit of tuning. But yeah, essentially what it does is it just keeps ramping up, and then eventually it just spits out a bunch of like high material pieces.
Yeah, because you know that AI is thinking about how to saving up their material money and then spending it in a big
like
splurge.
really YOLO this one.
Oh wow!
You can't make that diagonal or that lateral move because you're not actually blocked.
Oh yeah, you're right. Damn it. No.
But I mean, you can
Alright,
upgrade the piece.
Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, that's true. I keep trying to do that. I keep trying to move laterally when I'm stuck instead of when I'm blocked by a lock square.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Oh,
You can sacrifice that pawn just to take a bite out of the bishop, but I don't know when that is, if that's ever like something you really want to bother with.
Oh, I would think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise you're never gonna get rid of that bishop, and he's just gonna be tooling around, killing off your guys.
Well, maybe Mark is saying that you always want to wait until you have a 3-attack piece to go after that. I don't know if that's
sort of.
true, but it
Oh.
feels that way.
And part of that might simply be, oh, you got to protect your own
Now,
now.
you can take out that bishop. Oh no! Oh! Blunder!
Oh yeah. Okay, I see.
Oh!
Will that work like that though?
Don't end your turn
second.
yet. Yeah, because
Oh.
you didn't.
Oh,
you
I
needed
was-
to spawn a piece at the home row.
Oh
there,
no!
Yeah.
No, I stopped. I haven't been in
You
danger of
lose?
yeah.
Wait,
I haven't
okay.
been in danger of losing.
Yeah.
So, question: is that like a weird emoji I'm not familiar with,
That's
or
a
you
big
got a
frowny face.
C?
That's I forgot that's still there.
Yeah.
It's
That
just
was a
big
frowny face. Yeah.
When you
Oh.
do lose it, the game over screen comes so quickly that if you're not paying a lot of attention, you might not realize
Yeah.
why you lost. You probably just have a
Yeah, that's a
slower,
good point.
roll on that. Not a big deal.
Yeah, I also think you should give people who lose Fs instead of Cs.
Well, I do want to
There
mention
we go.
about what we were talking about before about how like it always seems like you only want to make attacks when you know you can defeat. You never want to like chip away, and I wonder how much of that is because the game is just styled that way, which would be an argument for just going back to normal chess capture rules, or if it's just because you are playing chess, and so the player will never get it in their head to play it any differently.
Yeah.
Like I would do wonder because as I was thinking about like what would it be? Oh, you could sacrifice a couple of pawns to chip away.
Yeah,
at
I
the
didn't.
Thing.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
You're right though. I didn't do that a single time. I don't think.
And part of me is
I
like,
could
oh, that'd be
also
worth
retune-
trying, but I don't know if it would
Retune
be...
the actual health of the pieces, so like bishops and knights have 2 health instead of 3, and that would make it advantageous to sacrifice 2 pawns to take it out, or really
Yeah.
1 pawn.
Yeah,
Whereas
sure.
like spending the material to upgrade a piece and then take it out is
Yeah.
that's actually a really good point.
Well, that's the one thing.
The
in
other
chess
thing
is
I'll
chess is
say.
chess is full of.
Sorry, go ahead.
Chess is full of exchanges. So if you had something
Yeah.
like that where you could get rid of 1 pawn and then use the second pawn to, that still is the language of chess, and that it still has a
Yeah.
you spend pieces to make advances, but it would just be using the more RPG style, and I think people would come on to the strategy of that relatively quickly.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah, I think
other
that's a
thing
really
I'll
good point.
say
Go
is
ahead.
I never used a queen or king, and I don't know why I would ever use a king at this point.
Because kings have 30 health and they're basically tanks.
Gotcha.
So you can not only absorb a lot of damage, but you can also like go around and dish stuff out. And the swap ability is, I think, fairly cheap. So
I almost would want to see like chess puzzles of this. So no more resources, and like you give someone pieces and they have to, play it out.
Oh man, imagine starting, because these levels already have kind of a puzzle element to it, because there's a desired outcome. Like if you just started each level with X amount of resources.
I like that a lot, actually.
And that's all you had, and then you just had to spend it wisely. That would also engage players with the strategy by virtue of they'd be greedy at first, either spawning a lot or upgrading a lot, and they would be unsuccessful doing that, or hopefully they would be unsuccessful doing that, and then they would find their way to the correct strategies.
Yeah. So the only thing I'd have to do there is like actually have seeded randomization, so you wouldn't have to just rely on RNG to beat the level, but that's not hard to do. Mm-hmm. But I actually like that a lot. That could be a really great like post-launch feature with just like 20 levels. I'd have to design the levels, which sounds terrifying, but I think that would be a lot of fun.
You could still do some randomization there. You wouldn't have to have it be the same every time. I like that a lot personally, but I don't think you'd have to.
Really, the only random elements are where on the board at the top they spawn, so it's really positional more than anything else.
Right.
But yeah, I think that's a really good point. I like that a lot, and I'm probably going to put that on my list. So I'll work on that after the game's released. I think that would be like a good major content patch to like get people interested in it.
Now, folks, I'm going to commit a huge party foul here, which is before we bring on Emery, I actually have an item for Ben's list as well, or for Ben to shoot down. Ben, what do you think of... Okay, hear me out here. The average level, I think, is going to feel a little bit like StarCraft level 3. You're in your base, you're defending against the Zerg swarms until you're strong enough to push out. Mm-hmm. What would you think about having a pickup that gives you some material out there on the board someplace, so you have to sort of sneak out there?
That's already coded. I just haven't found a way to put it into the game.
Yes.
So yeah, I have all of the assets. I have all the code in there. I just don't have an elegant way of putting it into the game. But I think that it would be great to have random drops like that to encourage board control. And like moving pawns or pieces to other parts of the board where you wouldn't go. I have a pickup for 1 material, a pickup for 3 material. I have a shield coded in the game, so it would have basically absorbed 1 hit of damage. And I thought I had one other thing, and I can't remember what it is now. I'd have to look at the assets for the game to figure out what that was. But I thought I had 4 different pickups.
Okay, can I make 2 more comments as we switch over to Emery?
Yeah, all right, but we gotta limit this. I know Pawndemonium has a lot of cool stuff to talk about, but yes, 2 comments.
Okay, one is your pawn in this opening screen is not the same shape as your regular pawn in the game. And then the second is the fact that Evan did not realize how badass a king was. Might be a reason to put in a little catalog about the features of things as well as their costs.
So if you can get by without ever needing a king, you'll never learn why a king is so badass.
Yeah.
It's too expensive resources to get any of the high tier units.
Yeah. It's way too expensive. Like it just needs to be rebalanced a little bit, and that's kind of one of the things that I need to do before the game is released is just rebalance everything.
Okay, so Mark, as you load up Emery, I'm going to say this, which is IGGA TC Playtest is moving from your favorite platform where you watch people play video games to your favorite platform where you watch cat videos. Meaning we're moving to YouTube, and we'll be streaming live from YouTube starting next month.
That's right. I forgot to mention this at the top of the show, so thank you for reminding me, Dale. But all of our events, our monthly events, we've been streaming on Twitch for a long time, but we're going to move them onto YouTube, and we were thinking about doing a transition period where we stream to both for a month or 2 just to make it easy on people. But that's a hassle, we decided, so we're just going to rip the Band-Aid, and we're just going to start streaming live from YouTube directly. That way, and then because people go there to watch the archive videos anyway, so it's just manage it in one place is the plan. So the first of those events will be the first game dev meeting in October. And then this is our last one directly on Twitch. And we'll see how it works. If it's a big disaster, we might move back to it, and we're inviting comments as well. So if people have thoughts on how to make that transition good, or what you need as a viewer watching live things on YouTube. My understanding, at least my experience, is that, especially for events like ours, the experience isn't that much different. There's live chat. What's nice is you have a rewind capability on YouTube, which is kind of nice. I don't know how much people will need that. Anyway, long story short, we're going to give it a shot, but we need to make sure people know about it, so that's why we're talking about it.
Okay, so Emery is a game by Ryan, I'm going to say Blaha. How did I do? Say hi, Ryan.
Yeah, you did perfect.
Okay.
Hello, everyone.
Ryan is streaming at you live from Roseville, Minnesota?
Bloomington, close.
Oh, other way. I was like...
Yeah.
From Bloomington, Minnesota, and he has 2 dogs.
1 dog.
1 dog.
I really enjoy how
Yeah.
almost correct you are about all these details.
Yeah.
Thank you. That is how my memory works. He just seemed like a dog person to me.
I
You
love
mean
dogs.
you're Emery?
Yeah.
Oh my god. All right, you are very lucky, mister, that you are the right person for this chat. Otherwise, we would boot you immediately for that.
Evan, you still have access, so I believe this is a gamepad only build.
All right.
Is that right, Ryan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Xbox One controllers work best. At
So-
this
So
point.
Ryan, I have given a little bit about what I believe you want out of this, but please help us understand, what are you looking for from our feedback for Emery?
I mean, you asked me to be here, didn't you? You
Raw
wanted to
comments
see.
it is.
You wanted to see what all the 2D-Con fuss was about, right?
I mean, that's the thing, right? So it's not just Evan that's gonna be playing this, right? Like we want to have 2 people in there for the multiplayer.
Oh.
I
Yeah.
could
It's
join
so
you as
the
well.
multiplayer. The multiplayer is 2-player co-op.
That's
so
awesome.
the approach that I've kind of taken is
Ooh, I like this.
similar to like Portal 2.
Yeah.
Oh.
Where there's a fantastic single-player campaign in Portal 2, and then there's a completely separate co-op campaign where the players actually actively have to work together. No one can just, lead the way, and the other person never has to just tag along. Like, how some co-op games are like that, where like
Oh, yeah.
you bring your friend in to play a game, and
And
they
all
have
they
no idea
can
what they're
do
doing, and you
is
just
press a button
kill all
and
the
it-
enemies, and they just follow in your wake, kind of stuff.
They follow you around and press a button that's, I'm going to say, spits pomegranate seeds on all your enemies and doesn't really move yourself.
Yeah,
That-
that's the classic Nintendo multiplayer anymore, I guess.
Yeah, that's
But-
my Jazz the Jackrabbit reference.
I think
Okay,
I
okay.
am
So Mark,
having
are
an
you going to be...
issue controlling through Parsec right now?
Sorry?
I think I am having an issue using a controller through Parsec.
I actually do recall we've played Emery a couple times, and we've had some difficulty in the order of operations, which is a Parsec-specific issue, I think.
Okay.
I'm controlling the menu now. I'm playing locally,
Yep.
so there's no trouble here. But if you want to, let's see. Let me close the game, and you're connected. If you have a gamepad connected, when I open the game again, it should recognize both controllers. Give that a try.
Okay. Let's do that then.
Let's do that.
And Ryan, in the main menu, do all players have abilities to use the main menu, or is it
Just player 1 right now.
Okay,
Yep.
so we don't actually know if there's a problem.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So maybe it was just because you have a controller in then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start
I was
two-player.
trying to move this. So.
And if this doesn't work, then we'll troubleshoot there. But I think I suspect we'll be all right.
Okay, and
One thing
I'm going to...
is that all the animations on this menu are basically like brand new, like they're just in the last couple months. So
Yeah.
he has been like Charles McGregoring up this menu quite a bit, and I think it looks a lot more lively for it.
Definitely better. I got more ideas, but I couldn't get them all in.
How long have you had this 2-player cooperative mode in the game?
Yeah, so I think some people were surprised by it because I've never shown it before, and 2D-Con was kind of its debut.
Oh.
I kind of started laying the groundwork for it in like the summer of 2019, actually.
Oh, so
And
that's a while back. You've
it's
had
been-
this in a
yeah.
month.
I mean, the game itself is 5 years old already almost, but
Yeah.
it's been taking me so long to figure out what it is exactly, and then I have learned countless lessons about programming in general and making code more elegant and reusable and all that good stuff. So it's been a journey for sure, but to the public, I guess it's only been available since a couple weeks ago when I debuted it at DutyCon, and it's been kind of in development for a lot longer, but I wasn't very public about it.
So I imagine your main character is named Emery. Is that a bad assumption?
That is a correct assumption.
Okay, so if you're playing 2-player, what is your other one called?
I just call them both Emery for now.
Okay.
Emily.
Are you having trouble with the menu here, or what's?
Yes, I'm not able to select one of the co-op.
So A doesn't load into co-op.
No, nor start, and I don't believe.
Nor start.
And there's no mouse control here.
I don't have that. Are you using an Xbox One controller? Or?
Yeah, and I'm playing locally, so this wouldn't be a Parsec specific issue. But I don't know what's going on here. What we could do is we could start starting it over, and then Evan could press start instead of me. Would that maybe make him player 1? Just try and see if that works.
You could try it.
Let me also just try doing. Oh, this just goes right into the first level. This single player mode.
Yeah, you could try one of those.
You
So
could
that
also
does work.
hypothetically unplug your controller.
Sorry, what was that?
You could also hypothetically unplug your controller.
Oh, wait a minute. I think I know what's going on here.
Yeah.
So Mark, you've played previous builds on this machine, right?
Yes. Oh, I got to do some save data.
Yeah. Yep,
Cool.
that's exactly it.
All right, folks, we're going to do this live, so you can see how this works for yourself.
Okay, give us some programming chatter.
So for anyone who needs to delete save data, for a Unity game in particular, do Windows key R, and you get the run dialog, and you type in %appdata %, and that will open up the folder that is the app data for your machine, and you'll be in the roaming folder. Now that's not where you want to be. You want to go back to app data and go to, I believe, local low is the correct one.
Yes, it's local low. Yeah.
And what would be the studio name that it would be under?
Let me see. It might just be Orion. Okay, go up to Crunchbox Games right there.
Crunchbox Games. Okay.
Yeah.
And there it is. And you just delete that sucker, and that should be all she wrote.
Yep.
Okay, so anybody want to give me the background on why that messes things up?
It could be because I'm going to take some guesses, Ryan, and then you can let me know if I'm.
I can just tell you outright, so you don't have to guess. But it's more or less that has to do with the way that I'm serializing data to a save file.
Yeah.
And so anytime that I need to make modifications to the structure of the save file, like the object model, when it tries to load an existing file off disk, there's like an incompatible model there, so it doesn't know how to read from the disk. And it breaks things. So, trying to make something that's a lot more flexible is always on my radar, but still just doesn't get prioritized. So, it looks like
I am able to select a level, but it doesn't look like either of our players are
spotting. Okay, so this tells me that it's not detecting your second controller.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So that was the problem we thought we had originally.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So maybe I should restart Parsec with the controller plugged in?
That shouldn't. Well, why don't I kick you out of the connection because you've been connected for quite a while, and then just I will start the game, then you can request again, and we'll give that a try. Order of operations sort of stuff.
Yeah, all I know is that if I haven't touched my controller in a while, it turns itself off. So that's usually my problem.
Yeah. So the way Parsec works is Parsec virtualizes a local controller. It doesn't matter what controller you're using. It virtualizes a Xbox controller. So any game should be compatible with it, but the game isn't always expecting a controller to be plugged in at a random time necessarily. And so Parsec, when Parsec does it, is usually the most non-standard way. So there could be some sort of like problems there. It's not particularly related to the technology. It's more like when you're developing a game, you have to come up with 800 different edge cases for something as simple as plugging in multiple controllers, and maybe you only got 794 of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which it happens.
Yes, I do.
And there are plenty of shipping games that don't even do half as well as a lot of games in development on this. Evan, why don't you go ahead and press start and see if you have player 1 access, or if that's just determined
not.
by. All right, so that's just determined by whichever controller is plugged in first in the system. And so we'll select this co-op level again, and we'll give it one more try. No dice still. I'm going to unplug my controller, and we're just going to see if you can control it from the start. And then I'll plug in mine, and then that will introduce the least amount of variables. And
If we reach the doomsday scenario of not being able to do this, then we could go through single player, because I believe that it wasn't just co-op that we were interested in. It's also sort of what can we do to make this game sort of pop out in a marketing way.
Yeah.
What would
for
you do?
yeah.
I still can't.
No dice? Well,
so
Dale,
it's
do you want to connect, and we'll see if it's maybe
Okay, hold on.
engine?
Yeah.
Turning on my controller.
I mean, so everybody knows that outlining this process is actually part of doing these playtests. So this is perfectly good content from where I'm sitting. So,
Sure.
Dale,
yeah.
Dale, you are also connected. I'm just going to see if you can control if you hit press start if
Ooh.
it works for you.
I cannot. I'm assuming that's the hamburger button, right?
It is indeed the hamburger button.
'Kay.
As Xbox calls it, the menu button.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever indeed. Right now you're connected. I'm going to try launching it after you've connected, and we'll see if that works. Now, we have run Emery with other players on Parsec before,
Okay.
so there certainly could be down to any number of, like, maybe I need to restart my Parsec. And there's enough variables that I don't know if we're going to be able to try them all.
Okay, I am pressing my hamburger button and nothing is happening.
No dice. Now, when I plug in
Those
my
little weird ladybugs that are full of blood have 3 eyes. I can see it now that it's bigger on my
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah.
Is that not what you wanted them to be?
So when I
Uh-huh.
plug in
It is.
my controller, then that controller becomes the second controller that my computer reads. I am also cannot press start. So what's happening is my system is reading 2 controllers. Dale's via a virtual controller from Parsec, and mine as the second controller. Emery seems to only be interested in whatever player 1 is, and it's not able to read information from Dale's player 1. That's what we know. I don't know what we can do with that information, but I'm just laying it out. But I will go ahead and just restart Parsec on my end, just to give that a try.
Okay.
And Lane, why don't you ask Ryan a little bit more about the background about that marketing angle that you're talking about?
Of course. So, Ryan, you came to me recently, and we were talking about the future of Emery, and you're in a position that I was in just like a couple of years ago, deciding to like what to do with this game. And I know that you are on the verge of pitching this to publishers. So, what are you looking to do with this game? And I guess what would you want to give to a publisher that might get them very enticed and interested in this game?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of a question I'm still trying to answer for myself, and that's just part of the reason I'm kind of starting to engage with people who have tried parts of this process themselves too, to get some perspective on it, because it's something that's always kind of on my mind, is how I can get I'm not even necessarily dead set on finding a publisher as much as I'm trying to find ways to find my audience, right? And I know publishers can be, in a lot of cases, a big help in that sense. So I think the first thing that I've kind of committed to myself is that Emery is a game that I can finish with or without a publisher. I'm confident in that. I think that a publisher, if there was, or not, a backer of any sort that could provide some resources, might help me expedite how long it will take to do that. And so, I'm just trying to find out if it makes sense to go that route, and if it does make sense to go that route, like, when is the right time, or how do I make the right impression, to your point. So, I waffle on all these topics a lot, and I'm sure there's, obviously no right answer for any of these particular questions. It just, it has to make sense at the right time, which is not always easy. So I think part of what I need to figure out for myself is, like how to best prepare myself to make the right impressions, and really what kind of appeal I have with a game like this.
Exactly. So, tonight we're going to try to understand by playing this sort of where you are, and then it would also help for us to understand sort of like where you want to be with this. And it sounds like what you want to be able to do is present something that is either very gripping, interesting in some major way to a publisher, or something that is going to be able to produce a video or just a few moments of gameplay to really hook in players. Because I know from my experience, once I sort of got over the hump of actually trying the game out, I had a great time. But the of course the question everybody that we had with Vengeance and everybody has is, what can do the most work to get you to that point from the spot that you're at right now? Oh, we got 2 people doing stuff.
All right, let's go.
Heck yeah.
The secret is living in the same household, so you can plug it directly in.
Yeah.
We sort of cheated, but we're
And
on
I
board
think-
I
now.
want to point out that I have cute blue jeans.
You do.
Okay, so the characters have a physical interaction with each other, right? One can stand on the other. They can give each other a boost up.
Yep.
Cool.
And you will not want to forget about that.
What's that thing? I just want to know what's happening to you.
Yeah, and I think, we're already kind of figuring out that being such a much newer part of the game, I don't have all the kinks ironed out with multiplayer, especially.
Oh, sure.
So, there's definitely a lot of room for... I definitely found a lot of bugs and overall, areas for polish and improvement at 2DCon as players were playing the co-op. I feel like co-op got more reps than the single player did, almost.
That has 100% been my experience every time, where a group will be much more likely to replay something than a single player.
Yeah.
Charge it.
Okay, so Dale, it looks like. So it's interesting that the edge of the screen becomes a wall when we separate. So it looks like we have to do this in an order or something. So mine is
I
up,
think you just both have to do it.
but at the same time. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't. It's not really well communicated that there's because it pops down right away. But it isn't quite.
Yeah,
communicated.
the overall communication of things like
So
that
this
are
is similar. We need to do this
well
on
a
a
work
certain
in
way.
progress.
Oops.
Oh,
That
dude,
wall-
this is cool.
That wall slide is killer. If you hit the side of the thing, it really slows you down.
If you hit the wall slide, pull right trigger.
Dale, just wait till they're all
I'll
done,
watch.
and we'll do them together.
Okay.
Okay, go.
Yay! We made
Nice.
it!
I will say, as a piece of feedback about co-op play, it's probably not a great idea to require pitch-perfect coordination as the first thing you have to do, because when, especially in co-op games, the first thing 2 players do is goof off for a while,
Yeah.
and so it immediately punishes you for that.
That's what
I will say that one with the asterisks that they just did, that one felt perfect to me because there was you weren't punishing the player at all for failure there.
Oh no, I missed it. Do it again. Oops. Yay!
Sick!
Yay! What? Oh.
That's just the UI.
That's the UI.
So presumably you go bonk that thing over there. Okay. Here,
Oh.
Oh, that is awesome.
Wait, am I supposed to do some sort of ground thingy?
Yeah, hold down B for a while and then jump after that. I think that's what I did. I don't know if I was supposed to do that, but
So, from a publisher perspective here, I wonder if you guys will think I'm just completely bananas here, but I feel like there's a million puzzle platformers out there, but there are not a million games that are sort of like Portal 2, right? They have like the co-op element. Like I would be inclined to really emphasize this because and to work on this more, just because like there are so few competitors in this kind of space compared to the single player.
Agreed. Mark and I had a great time playing Portal 2.
Yeah, really did.
Oh no!
You found the drop down ability.
Yeah, and then I fell down.
Yeah.
Oh, what are those, not quite chess pieces?
Not quite chess pieces.
I'm sure people just tune in to hear me call things.
Yeah, what happens if one of those hits you? Like they look like they're bad dudes.
Let's find out!
Yeah, I'm kind of just letting people play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Owie!
Oh, so they push you off. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna just ignore you. We're gonna leave
I think you gotta get all the.
I have to go kill this thing?
I guess.
Ryan,
I'll...
I have a question. Would it be appropriate at all to color the batteries similar to the players?
Battery color is actually a customizable element. So players can choose what color their lightning is, which dictates what color their battery is, stuff like that. So I have character customization built into the game. It's not accessible right now in any form in this demo, just because it was just kind of a casualty of the timeline I had.
Yeah.
But all that stuff is built into the game. These are just the two default character customization settings.
Okay. Yeah, it makes me wonder if the default character customization in 2-player would want to be like a color coordinator with the batteries, because it took me a long time to recognize. And no, I'm not playing, so it doesn't really matter. But it took me a while to realize that Dale was the battery on the right.
I forgot how these abilities work.
Yeah, UI is getting a complete overhaul in the next few months. Actually,
Okay.
you guys picked on me a lot for the UI the last time I was here, which was totally fair. And it's getting everywhere for sure.
One
Can you wall jump,
real quick things about these light ups. They're gray on gray, and so Dale didn't know that she had to go to that one because she couldn't see it. Luckily, we're in the same room, so I could point up on the screen.
Visibility is a legitimate issue with those, and they are actually third on my list for what I'm gonna have my artist do next, something like that.
Yeah. Dude, that wall slide animation for the character is awesome. I really like that.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I like the sparks flying off their face.
Do you fly in there?
How do you fly?
Well, he's got
the wings.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually don't know when I picked it up. It must have been from one of the things I got.
Hold on. Let me get on top of you, and you can just carry me.
Nice. Oh, please.
That's cool.
Well, where are we going?
I don't know.
You're flying,
because
right?
I keep forgetting that there's no that you can jump through that. It has a gray outline, the bottom border should be missing to make it more clear that you can jump through that. Even though I've been doing it this whole game.
Yeah. Yep, you're right.
Oh no.
Also, this is a little bit. I guess the idea is supposed to be that you're supposed to, Dale, you go to the above there and then fall down on me. But that feels like a little bit
talented enough to do that.
No, because I can't jump here.
Okay.
So
I have to be talented enough to.
What I'm saying it's a little bit. It's asking a little bit too much of us.
It could be a little bit more roomy here.
Yeah, hold down the jump to get all the way up there. There you go.
Oh. Okay.
And then now you can get on me.
Okay. Oh,
Dude, this is kind of satisfying. I'm I can see why this did so well at 2DCon though. This is really cool to watch. Ooh!
How do I recharge exactly?
Hold B. Yeah.
So, Evan, my question to you looking at this is, are there any things that you would do? Because I know that Asterisk is chock full of this kind of thing that you would do that would be a simple dev thing that could make the game just much more eye-popping. Any thoughts come to your mind?
Yeah. I think what people said with colors a little bit, there is a lot of gray in the world, and I think matching the character with the coloring would help a little bit. I think I guess just even just popping a font like this Unity, right? I think I saw at the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, are you done, Zo? Now?
Oh, no.
What happens
Yeah.
now?
Well,
Yep.
we
That's a soft lock.
we didn't realize you both have to press
Yep.
B to leave.
No, you're all
and-
good. That's on me.
Yeah.
So it's to be fixed for sure. But that is the end of the level, so you
Yay! I
beat it.
helped.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, if Dale pushes pause to open the menu and just clicks exit, it'll effectively get you to the same place.
I'm gonna go with Mark. You have to press
Yeah.
it instead of me.
But
Oh,
I.
ha! Now I have control.
Okay.
Okay. Am I
Yeah.
going to restart level?
No,
or-
exit level. We'll do the second level now.
Oh. You think I'm good enough for that, huh?
Well, do we want to do the first level again?
No, it's probably better to give feedback on more things.
Yeah.
Got the Italian flag.
Oh,
Oops.
yeah.
Okay, I'll go over here because I'm bad. Oops. Bad at it. And you can go over there.
What
So
do
the-
those blocks
Whoa.
do?
They got him little points.
Mm.
So
Oh,
what
wow.
would you describe that as? Okay. Oh, I just have to hold down jump. That doesn't make
And hold down the left trigger to hover.
Oh.
Left bumper.
It's left trigger. The UI is wrong.
Oh.
Another thing to fix.
And then you let go
Happens.
when you want to be done. Then. Why do I have that little star there? It's
You
my-
have
That
something
just
else.
indicates that
Oh,
you
but
have
it's-
like an
but it's
attack
the-
ability.
It's the right trigger that does that. Okay.
Oh no! I fell
Oh.
down. Yeah, I thought that was a platform still.
Would it be possible to execute that that like flying with just the A button, with just jump, or does it need the left button?
Look, I got there.
My feedback from previous playthroughs is that the game controls a little bit more complicated than it needs to.
You guys are
So,
perfectly off
It's,
that.
and I think
What are you doing?
the window on that is too tight. It's
Yep.
Oh,
Oh no!
I like the movement though of the level. That's like it's fun to see that happen.
mm.
Ow!
oh
I
okay.
can't go in there.
I can shoot these. That wasn't something that occurred to me.
Oh
Because
wow,
because
yeah.
because it's a wall, I just assumed nothing could get through it.
It's a
Oh,
force field. It's a trick.
And she's got to fly across the other one, or whoever has the flying.
Yeah, you can fly and jump on the thing.
Wait,
I think
what?
my
Okay,
only
okay,
like
I got
real
it.
suggestion is I figure maybe this stuff comes a little more naturally after playing the single player.
Oh, for
Oh,
sure
good
it
call.
does. Yeah.
So
yeah, you could imagine like 2 or 3 intermediate, easier steps before this challenge, right?
yeah, I like
Yeah.
totally see that.
Oh man, Dale's got to be very precise here.
Oh.
Phew. Okay. How do I
I'm
track
just-
again? Oh. I
Ah.
Just don't
Good
even
luck.
jump. Just
You got it.
Okay, get that dodecahedron. That's apparently a teleporter.
All right, now I gotta land on you here.
Nice.
Okay.
Hey, that visually makes sense.
Oh.
I gotta drop a little bit. There you go.
Ooh.
I would say the tolerance on that is a little bit tight too. Like there's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, not to like
we managed it.
disregard your feedback, but like the balance passes on this there are many needs for balancing, and it's really hard. Like I legitimately cannot play test these by myself for reasons that are probably obvious by now.
Yeah.
So it's definitely harder for me to do that. I'm not trying to make it as an excuse, but like this is the 2D con build, and like there are various things that I walked away from 2D con with like 8 pages of notes, I think, and almost all of them pertain to 2. And like
Oh.
you'll notice, like I don't know if you've noticed either, but there have been some like troubled interaction. Left trigger there, whoever's on top.
Oh, you got a force field bubble.
Oh, a window.
Oh, you got the
Yeah.
shield because you have a shield.
Oh,
That looks sick. That's a nice effect.
Yeah, that looks good. It's very big. Oh,
Yeah, it's
Ooh.
definitely needs to be big enough to
Nice.
encompass both players for
Yeah,
reasons.
yeah.
Oh, this is awesome.
Oh, charge it up.
This is great.
Boom. That was, okay. Fine.
Fly.
Oh, the shielding boss, dude, that's so cool.
I like that part. Yeah.
Wait, stop.
Oh my god, Ryan, this is so much what I wanted out of like Fingen's co-op. God, I love this. This is so cool.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that was a case where I had the jump, so that I wouldn't be on top of you anymore, so you could get a bit of a higher go.
Okay,
That was kind of interesting.
that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, this area isn't especially well thought out yet, but I'm blaming the crunch because I totally like. To be completely honest, like these levels aren't quite up to the standard I would have wanted them to be at, but I wasn't gonna not show them at that point. So
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Oh.
Uh-oh, how do you
no.
get past this?
What?
there's another one of the asterisks on the left side of that. Oh yeah, and then there's the camera jank. Okay, so yeah, you gotta hit both of those asterisks.
Oh.
Well, Dale can't, because...
And
Yeah, just
Oh,
jump up into
Mark
the
needs to
laser.
die here, right?
Yeah, just jump into the laser to reset your positions.
Okay.
Okay.
Whoever's on the right. Just jump
Okay.
up. Yeah, there you go.
Cool.
Okay.
So yeah, that's definitely in my notebook to give this one a few more passes too.
Okay, and so you go over there and I stay here.
Wait a minute. Do we
So
need to-
I guess.
Yep. So
What
come
do
over
you?
here.
What
And
graphics
then,
like are you using for
and
Unity?
go
Are you
to
using
my
ERP
right
or
and then
anything or?
Yeah, I've got URP. Yep.
Okay.
Alright.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
I
then
think
you go
like
to the other asterisk.
adding lighting would change this level a lot.
Yeah, I'm kind of trying to work on that a bit too. It's a little bit out of my familiarity still to work with a lot of lighting, but the capability is obviously there because I'm using the new render pipeline, and then
Yeah.
I gotta like
Feels
actually.
like-
It's
There's one
it's
of
really
those
it gets really
boxes.
frustrating with like all the different like sorting layers and all kind of stuff like that. You know, when I spent years building the framework for the game, not using URP, and then finally URP comes out with all
Oh,
these
you.
new features.
Oh, yeah, that's tough.
Retrofeed.
Yeah, I like
So-
kind of just tried ERP for asterisk, and it it works really surprisingly well. Honestly, because I was using
Gotta play some-
random Unity
Yeah.
plugins before that for 2D lighting.
For sure. And then like obviously you gotta create like your normal maps and stuff, and that's I mean there's tools to help with that, but that can be a whole process as well.
Honestly,
and I just
even
don't have
without
those
normal
things.
maps, I think what you have would look really good without normal maps. Like I don't use normal maps for a lot of it, and
Okay.
even just having some like even like these lights here, like I think these would be great to just have point lights or something in them to just emit light and have sort of
Does
an
somebody
ambiance,
need to tell you about super fast soft shadows?
Maybe?
Okay, super fast soft shadows is a plugin that makes awesome shadows super fast. How'd I do? Late.
That sounds about right.
I mean, I'm just taking it from the name, but everybody seems to be a fan of it, and it's made by one of the Scots.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, yeah,
I'm
it like so.
excited.
So this is if you have heard any of the lectures or reading of the blog done by Scott Lemke, you know that you're dealing with something special here. This is something that is made by like Howling Moon, which is a local company, and it's a thing that like a couple years into Fingen's development, Charles threw onto our game, just like literally like in an afternoon, bathed the game in super fast soft shadow, and it made it like extremely engrossing looking. Like, I cannot recommend enough that you at least check it out. Because what it does is it makes it so that 2D objects can cast realistic shadows that don't have hard edges. So you can add like a lot of depth to a game very simply by just like taking a bunch of objects in the game and defining a like shadow collider for it, and then having lights cast shadow through that.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
that's
no.
part of what the appeal is supposed to be for URP
definitely.
is it like gives you various different ways to create light objects, but then they also have like their own shadow caster 2D components, and
Right.
I've dabbled with all that stuff, but I haven't really incorporated it yet because I haven't just taken the time to like try to measure what all the impacts would be if I tried to start like adding things like that to this game. It's another one of the things that's on my to-do list, but my to-do list is like 500 pages long.
Do you mean like resource-wise?
I got
Like,
a thingy.
honestly, I don't think like if you're not aiming for like mobile, I almost think there's nothing to worry about.
Yeah, I'm not as worried about performance as much as just
Yeah.
like what it would take to get
Gotcha.
everything looking like it belongs in the same
Fair.
scene.
Yeah. One thing I'll say though is that like I understand, and like it's very easy for people to just say, "Hey, Dev, here, do like 20 things on my list," right? But
yeah.
like, one thing I'll say is that if you have lighting, it actually covers up a lot of faults, and it like makes your job easier in some ways. It's definitely the sort of thing where I have felt much more comfortable skating by with unfinished art because I've had good shadows.
Yeah, like Lane probably saw this more than anybody, maybe, but is asterisk like I only light up the player, so you literally you can only see like a 10% opacity on the rest of the world because I'm only lighting up the player. So it's like like you said, it hides a lot.
Okay, so I would call that thing I just saw a ghost iguana
Oh, yeah.
head.
Ghost iguana.
Okay.
I don't know what it was intended to be, but that's definitely what it seems like to me. Okay, why can't I get down here? Or I would like to go down there. How do I do it? Don't answer that. Just let me figure it out.
All right.
Yeah, Mark. Mark's pointing at the screen. He also tried to tell me what the what my problem was, which is that I needed to power up, but that was not my problem. My problem was that I could not jump accurately. Or jump at the right time.
If you're gonna tell your wife what her problems are, you should at least be accurate.
Why?
Is that my issue? Damn.
Okay. So I would call this lightning bolts in a cube.
Yeah.
Make sure to write these names down. You're gonna need them.
Yeah, I'm taking notes.
Okay, how do I get? Oh, I'm wall jumping. Did you see that? I'm so good at games.
That was in the top 10 sickest plays I've ever seen.
Thank you,
And
Lane.
I stomp on that game earlier.
That was pretty
I know what I'm
impressive.
talking about.
Okay, I don't know how to get over there.
Oof.
Oh no! It's that iguana head ghost. Not cool, dude. Oh, I smashed him. It's okay. It turns out he's not actually trans something it.
Transubstantiated? Is that what you mean?
Translucent.
I don't know. He was definitely translucent.
Secretary of Transportation.
Not Secretary of Transportation.
That's probably it.
What trans going through objects?
So is this the single player or the adventure, and what's the difference?
Good
So
question.
the adventure, there are two single player modes. There's the inspections, which were on the left, and the what did I just say? Inspections on the left and adventure in the middle.
Yeah.
So the inspections are meant to be like kind of like the how to play.
Gotcha. Okay.
And kind of in lore, like Emery's a robot, right? So when Emery is created, they have to go through however many point quality inspections. So that's kind of the write-off to that aspect of it. You go through various like crash tests and stuff like that, and it teaches you how to play. in the future, I'd love to have more like single player like challenges. Like think about like break the targets from like Smash Bros. Melee or something like that.
Yeah.
With the game's various
Okay,
weapon
so for the
abilities.
record, I have no idea what happened there where I got transmitted.
Yeah. Yep.
Bonus
It's
level.
it's on the list.
I can't power.
There's a black box to tell you
Yeah.
there's a
Yep.
teleporter there for now, but yeah.
You can't use any of your powers in this field.
Oh,
Ah,
it feels like...
EMP zone.
I know this because I've played before, but it does take a little bit to understand that's what's going on.
Okay,
It's
so
like those levels in Super Mario Sunshine where you don't have flood.
Yeah.
you know that I have never played that or
It's a
most
cutscene
every
level.
Mario game.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would say here that I can see that it is foggy. I'm wondering if
Yeah,
there's
it's maybe a
something-
little too foggy, but yeah, it's supposed to
Well-
look like an EMP storm. And it is another thing that is going to get reworked, but for now it's just a really simple like wispy particle system.
Okay.
But yeah,
So that
as
makes sense
Mark,
to me
yeah.
as a visual indicator that I did not latch onto, and since I don't know what an EMP storm looks like, which because I'm assuming it doesn't look.
Well,
like
Yeah.
did you
anything.
not? Did you see it say EMP or no?
Yeah, if you try using like any of your left trigger, right trigger abilities,
Oh,
if you try.
I was
Um,
assuming that stood for empty.
Well,
Oh,
either way, I
okay.
guess.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then
Yeah.
you try to charge, and what happens when you try to charge?
It's empty.
So if you think it means empty, and you try to charge, and it
Okay.
still is empty, that would be a little confusing.
Well, maybe my battery's bad, but also I don't know what's
It's
on my
actually pretty
right.
much-
No, yep, my left arm. If I was Emery, the right side of Emery as we were facing him, because it looks like he is holding a cross to ward off vampires.
That's what it is.
Really?
I think what you can
The
do
red
is
X or...
instead of the metaphor here is that like you don't have a charge, so you can't use any of your abilities. But
So I need
maybe
to ward off-
maybe instead of that, it could be that you just all your equipment is left at the door. You know what I mean? Like that might be a better indicator to the player that they can't use their abilities.
Or
I don't know.
like
This
one
seems
of
pretty
those-
good. We got the battery that's all the way down.
Yeah,
What
I
about
don't,
a little
I don't
like
mind that.
battery cross out sign,
There you go.
but then
Oh.
it doesn't. And then put periods between the E and the M and the P, so I don't think it stands for something. Also, this jump is too hard because this is my fourth time.
I feel like you have it though. You're just not holding the jump button down the whole time.
Well, you keep clipping the corner, and you're actually your sprite passes through it, which is a little bit
Mm.
annoying, I think.
Okay. So
Yes.
let's do-
Oh, just massage that button. Hold it down. Come on, Dale. Oh.
Oh,
Yeah, I could imagine a like maybe intermediate level jump challenge before this. There we go.
Oh,
But that's
I
satisfying.
get
I like
a
that.
battery, so it's like I found a battery. I'm gonna also say that
Nice.
that battery looks like a green, like a metal plated money.
Nice.
Yeah, that's actually kind of what it's supposed to be.
Cool.
so what are you aiming for? More of like a platforming game, or like are you gonna add more puzzles? Do you think in the future, or you
Yeah,
don't
so that's a
know,
really
or-
good question. It's the main point of inspiration has always been like the 2D Super Mario games. I
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
wanted to make like a platforming game where you could go through the levels, fight the enemies, collect the coins. You could, some people play Mario where like you kill everything and collect everything in sight. Some people like me will keep their thumb on the sprint button the whole time and just dash through it as fast as possible.
What's this
And I'm
green
trying to
button?
accommodate both kinds of players a little bit. So I track on the top right corner to the left of the battery. You can kind of
Yeah.
see I track how many points there are. So like high scores are tracked. Below the battery, you can see my timer. You can track
Oh,
your fastest time in each level. I have collectibles that only appear if you kill every enemy in a level. I have collectibles that appear if you kill no enemy in a level. I have collectibles that appear if you get to the end of the level in 30 seconds. I'm
somebody
trying to
got
make
him.
it, a bit of a multiverse platformer.
Mhm.
It's not meant to be a puzzle game, at least not in the single player. It has light puzzling elements to just kind of
Yeah.
give you, like a little bit higher risk reward.
Ow!
It does become a puzzle game in the two-player cooperative. I do have I don't know if I should be saying this quite yet, but I do have 2-player modes that are not cooperative in the works that are not being shown yet.
Yes.
Like
So-
anti-cooperative, or
Yeah, I have direct competitive, and then I
Gotcha,
have
gotcha.
like, yeah. So. Those,
So my
those
only
these
other
things-
question then along those lines is, can you beat the level without picking up the power-ups?
Yes, everything is.
Yeah.
My
Okay.
my intention is to make it so that power-ups
Yeah,
are
yeah.
not required.
Okay.
If-
Yeah, I'm just
yeah.
wondering, sort
Yeah.
of.
For sure. Yeah, that's whatever you want. I mean, it's good to see
Whatever?
what people think.
No.
Oh, I mean, I can't promise I'll have an answer for you, but yeah.
Oh, you died.
Yeah. So this needs visual communication, and it's again on the list. But the green enemies are ghostly, quote unquote ghostly enemies. So they can't be hurt with attacking abilities, your right trigger abilities. They have to be jumped on.
Oh, okay, so
Yep. So that'll be
Okay.
fixed sooner than later, hopefully.
no problem.
I don't know if I ever just sound exasperated from like the never-ending grind that is working on this game.
What's that
Don't mind
thing?
me.
It feels like. Oh, I didn't know what this is. I've done this.
Are
before.
you working alone?
For the longest time I have somebody doing music for me, and then I have somebody doing all the art for me as well, because those
See, I
aren't
did
really
that
my
one better.
talents.
Okay.
So it's been helpful to have them kind of supporting me on the areas that I'm not as skilled. But as far as programming and level design goes, it's all me. Yep.
Gotcha.
I remember that was there. Oops. I forgot how to use my trigger.
I feel like I would love to see a like Rayman type level on here, like what you were saying, where you said you're the type of person who runs through the level.
Yeah. Yeah. So like the ones where it's like synchronized to music and like the collectibles
Yeah,
and
maybe not
stuff.
synchronized, right? That's probably hard, but
That's definitely something I thought of. But
yeah.
yeah. I mean, this is literally like the first like dangerous level of the adventure mode for
intro,
sure.
Yeah.
But
And I will
yeah, I've got
mention
some
that
surprises that I'm like absolutely not willing to comment on yet.
Uh-oh.
But I'm excited for maybe a few more months, or maybe even at next 2DCon I'll be able to pull the curtains back for some actually unexpected stuff.
Ryan, did my ears deceive me? Did you say that this is the first level of adventure mode?
Correct.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, I think that you already know the direction that I'm going here. I'm nothing if not a predictable beast. But have you considered looking at the first level of any Mario game and being like, how many layers does that game have compared to what I've got going on here?
Yeah, for sure. I've got some Excel spreadsheets where it's like World 1-1 has this many enemies and this many like question mark blocks and
No
all that
way.
kind of stuff, and like the minimum number of jumps required to get through this level and all that kind of stuff. And there's some interesting insight there. I mean, if you go to like the old Super Mario games, like the classics on the NES,
Yes.
if you're speedrunning those, like thumb on the sprint button and just jump when you have to, you're legitimately getting through a lot of those levels in 15 to 20 seconds.
question mark.
I think.
Oh, 100%. What I'm talking about is purely the visual overload that a level like this could have on somebody who's playing for the first time.
Well, I did skip all the tutorial levels. I will say that, right?
So what, we think the level is too busy, or
There's a lot of ideas, I think, is what Lane is saying.
Exactly.
Like, for example, these eyeballs. That feels to me like I'm just, if this is the first level, that's one. I don't even know if they're enemies or not, but I'm not knowing anything about the game. If it is the first time I'm playing, it does seem like it's introducing way too much.
Okay.
Is that? I mean, Lane, is that what you're getting at?
You're saying
that is 100% what I'm saying here. Yes. That like I would be, I guess, overwhelmed as a player who doesn't play a ton of like 2D platformers, looking at all this stuff that's new in this level.
Yeah, there's two reactions to it. There's, oh, look at all this stuff, and then you spend a lot of time in level 1 sussing out how it all works. Or, this is just the first level, this stuff will be explained to me later, and then you just go by it, and then you miss all of the work that you put in.
So, okay, so to that end, I do have the inspection levels that are very much like that, and they introduce things one at a time.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first level of like the adventure mode, which is intended to be done after the inspections are done.
Okay, that helps.
But I kind of let people do what they want, because I can't tell you how many times at VGMCon someone's like, why can't I skip the tutorials? And it's like, I don't know what you want me to say, man. I mean, if you don't want to learn how to play the game before you jump in, then I guess fine. So,
well, that's telling in that a convention crowd is not the same as a playtest, right? Like, I've playtested games at shows, and you get a lot. It's a totally different attitude players have, and they don't even realize they're playing your game differently than they would at home or in a different environment. Even here, we play a little differently than we would play, when we purchase a game. It's sometimes hard to know. But
even if I was playing with you in person without an audience of 10 people.
Yeah.
I play differently. Well, maybe not that much differently, but like I did one time in an in-person playtest make the developer bored by doing the same thing and failing at it so many times. So I am not doing quite that badly. Oh yeah, I remember how to get this. No, I'm just gonna skip it. Okay, so question, is there a sprint button in this? Because I don't know about
X
it.
is sprint.
Oh, sweet.
Okay, you want to see me go fast and die real quick?
Let's go.
Okay, hold on, I gotta get these things. Okay. Wait, no, I don't know where X is. Oh, nope, yep, died.
Ryan, while she's working on this, 2 questions from the chat. First of all, the creator of Dinu Dating Simulator, Der Raffelmeister, says, "Ooh, this looks heckin' adorable."
Oh,
Hey, I said
thank you.
no.
I think he was a big fan of the co-op. Second of all, Kaiju Kaylee asks, "Can this be played well on an iPad?"
I don't have any built-in support for it. I would have to.
Yeah, my
think on how to
suspicion
make
is
that work for sure.
Yeah, because I feel like you have not only do you have traditional Super Mario Bros. Movesets, but you also have a bunch of extra buttons that get added. That seems like it would be really tough.
Okay,
Yep. So there's, in addition to what Mario does, there's the charging mechanic, and then there's the left trigger, right trigger abilities. So all in all, there's probably 5, 6 buttons if you count pause, and then the movement input. So I don't really have a ton of experience
screen, but it wouldn't be a great experience.
Programming for touchscreen devices. Yeah.
So this is what I didn't do, but it looks like we've played for almost an hour, so I was gonna ask, are we at the point where we want to switch games and kind of introduce the next game and ask if players want to play? Of course players want to play.
Well, Dale, I mean, you've been
players gonna play.
We played co-op together.
Yep.
And I think that's I do like the amount of burden on each player is pretty well balanced.
Yes,
I like that
I
a
would
lot.
agree with that.
I guess I just threw other comments during play, but you played the single player for a good while. Do you have
too hard?
Other than too hard, do you have any other top line feedback?
I would like to see the green blocks that you can't jump into. They have the bright green border on the top.
Yeah.
I found it confusing because I wanted to jump into them sideways just because they were so dark and not surrounded by that green border. So that's just a regular old boring art thing. But look, hold A to jump high. If only I knew that. I mean, I did know that because
you're trying to jump on a platform that's not there.
Yeah, okay. Also, that's confusing. But on the plus side, okay. hold X to sprint. Do I have to sprint and jump? Ugh.
I think I will say, like, Dale has portrayed herself as like bad at video games, but I have also had some struggle with the controls in the game a little bit, and I'm a veteran Mario player. I think.
Yeah, he knew all about Super Mario Sunshine when you blah 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 blah.
I think a lot of it has to do with some of the jumps. I think you've designed them so the player reaches them when they execute a perfect high jump, and I think you do need to be more forgiving generally in a lot of the traversal sections.
Yeah,
there's a lot of jumps that are hard-ish to make. They're not exactly crazy difficult, but players approaching them are not going to be at their A game as they take every step. I don't want to white knuckle through this game, is I guess my feedback. It feels like there's
save that for your bonus asterisk.
Yeah, or pace it out. I think the levels you've done, and I've played previous builds, I think your levels generally, as much as I agree with Lane that they're really too busy in the beginning, I think they're generally very well paced, and I think that's probably the game's greatest strength, which is maybe the hardest thing to do in a platformer. So, like, I think that's...
Yeah, I do want to jump on these things too. Also, I think this tower in the background is too tall for the surrounding house/churches.
That's just, you just gotta send that feedback to the architect of that village.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I also do recall these tutorial sections doing a pretty good job of spelling it out.
Yeah.
I don't know that... I think you could do some of this in a 1-1 instead of drawing it out so explicitly. But I also think it's okay to have these explicit tutorial levels. I think that... And they do work pretty well, as I recall.
Execute this job.
I'm curious, like, it's a little hard to tell without, having my hands on it, but I'm curious, like, if... Like, I guess just with the comparison to Mario, where I wonder if there is that, like, nice jump length of things so that you can do that minimum amount of jumps, like you were saying. Like, almost like a speed run, I'll call it, but, does that make sense? I don't know if I'm saying that well.
I would say my experience playing Emery is that Emery has weight in a way that Mario doesn't.
Gotcha.
And that's not a bad thing, right? I think the thing of it, when people talk about platformers, honestly, any jump curve, any feel, they're all good. It's just a matter of getting used to it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think the thing with Emery is that the character it feels heavy, and that's kind of interesting. But it does make it a little bit more challenging to just move around regularly, and I think that's partly why I'm a little critical on the level design, because I feel like the character motion is not, like I said, it's different than Mario, which is not a bad thing, but I think the level design doesn't necessarily account always for how sluggish Emery is on the leap,
Gotcha. The only other thing that's kind of maybe like a weird piece of feedback, or why have a charge? Maybe that's like a weird question, but I feel like the charge and like having a percentage charge almost is just like an extra thing that you might not actually need. Like, I know maybe it stops people from spamming things or something like that, but
yeah, you could do like the hover ability is one where having an amount is really, really good. The sort of risk reward of like, can I hover this long? I like it a lot personally. Yeah. But that might be a case where you just recharge when you land. But other abilities might not be as well for that. I'm guessing, and Ryan can explain, but I'm guessing the charge is a generic system that works for all types, which is probably better than having different systems for each. But I kind of agree with you. It's maybe a little more complicated than it has to be in some cases.
I guess I meant it more like, right now, your battery goes up automatically over time, and you have a charge ability.
Oh, I see. Like, why both, what you're saying.
Yeah, I guess.
Yep. So the recharge ability is a lot faster. If you were to, for example, deplete your charge all the way to 0, it would take 10 seconds to recharge on its own. Whereas if you go into recharge mode, it would only take a second. So there's that brief window of like vulnerability where you're not moving.
And does the charge make you do the extra
the charge
jump?
charge gives you the charge jump, so that's why it always has to be available.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I do have plans to make it so that like when you're at full battery, like the visual effect is like way less like.
Dale, you're mistaking that piece of
obvious.
UI for an actual crate.
Yeah.
It would be funny if that was interactable, though.
I would love that if that were the case.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can make it happen.
Bit of cuteness.
Okay, couple more comments from the chat here, folks. Number one is Kaiju Kaylee says the character blends in too much with the background elements. Speaking as a viewer, and I'm wondering, is there much you can do? Because I know that one complication with that is that the character is totally customizable. Like you can have be any color you want. You can attach all sorts of different things to your character. So, and this is not a game that has a lot of like dark outlines around things. So it's not trivial to set off the main character. So, anybody have any thoughts on that?
I would think I would disagree with that. That might be a different case of like the viewer versus the player, but I don't think I ever felt like I lost track of the character while playing.
Could be. Yeah, this is definitely coming from viewer perspective.
Yeah, and I mean that's valuable feedback for that purpose. But I don't think it impacts play. I don't know. What do you think, Dale? Even the gray Emery.
I don't think it impacts play. What it impacts is Twitch streaming.
Yeah, I mean, for that reason alone, it's worth thinking about.
Yeah, I think it really blends into the borders on those how-to blocks.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a perfect match, it seems like.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't have a hard time, especially with like maybe the main character, but the blue one I like didn't lose a single time. But
Yeah. Well, yeah, and the Dale, I think is the customization menu in this build?
It is not actually.
Oh, okay, because that's fun to walk through to see all the different.
Well, maybe a question to ask is we could just talk about. I mean, I think that in some way the like gray character may be the perfect character because it is like the protean like everyman that you can then change. But is it possible that it might be like better in some way if the character's default color were red or some other like protagonist color, in order to make it so that the character like is a little bit more obvious on screen?
Yeah, my main bit of art feedback for the game is that there isn't. I think it could be the color schemes could be pared down a lot. Like I like Emery as gray. I think that's a charming. Because, Emery is a cute little non-assuming robot. Gray is kind of the perfect color. But it kind of requires not a lot else in the game to be gray, and a lot else in the game is gray, if you want to do that. Like I said, I don't have a problem losing the character at all. I just think that I would say I'm with Lane, either by making the character have a more definitive, or at least the default character, have a more definitive aesthetic that is owned by that character. So enemies wouldn't share it, objects, power-ups wouldn't share it.
What if you put him in red pants?
Well, that's pretty good. Because the
my-
red eyes kind of works with that. It still
Yeah,
feels
I was
kind of
gonna say,
basic.
I always wear pants
Yeah.
that match my eyes.
I was gonna say the alternate would be then to pull back on the level design colors and make that more simple, two-tone, maybe even some fully monochromatic areas. The levels now have tons of rich detail, and it'd be a shame to lose it, but that could help in terms of giving it the character more of a distinct pop from that, perhaps. I don't know. There's like 8 ways to do it. There's no right answer. I don't know. Does anybody else agree with me that like gray is kind of perfect? Like I really like it.
I don't mind. Yeah, I don't mind gray. I just think that too many things are that same gray.
Agreed. Yeah, I would like it more, and the charm would work more for me if the platforms, if like the body portion of the platform weren't so similar to that color of gray. If it were like darker down there, I would definitely appreciate it more.
Sure.
Yes, like maybe these.
Like maybe don't change the player, change a couple other things. Yeah.
Your artist is gonna have so much work to do. Well, I was gonna say like these glass plates or steel plates, maybe they turn into like kind of brownish bricks for this area that is in front of some mountains and a nice village with a tower that's too tall.
Yeah, it could be that Emery is gray and that Emery is like pure gray, 0% saturation. But the other grays in the game could be like 5% saturation. You'd be surprised how big a difference that makes.
Back to the lighting thing though, like I think you wouldn't even notice that it was the same gray if you had lighting on the player and the area.
Yeah.
Super fast to shot. Why? Keep dying there. I'm very...
There's one more target to hit, but it's off screen, so you can kind of barely see it.
Oh, so it's like you can't go forward. Okay, so
yeah, that's a little strange. As to there's no barrier that goes away. It's just an invisible wall that you die in front of.
I thought that I was just bad at sprint jumping. A thing that I totally know about because I read all the instructions. I can walk through them.
Well, I know Lane is stalling because he doesn't want us to give him too much negative feedback on his game coming up next.
I'm gonna give him much negative
That's the game
feedback.
coming up next. So we should do quick final thoughts on this one before we move on.
What's it called? And can players join directly via Tabletop Simulator?
Lane should answer that question.
Lane?
Hey, what's going on?
You're up next on the chopping block.
Hey, fantastic. Who's got Tabletop Simulator here?
I'm raising my hand.
Dale does, as do I.
Perfect.
I am going to hop, so I will talk to you guys. Hopefully, the next, maybe not next one, but
next
yeah.
month.
Whenever Strisk is ready to share, please bring that back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us for so long.
Yes, thanks for sticking around for this long. This has been great.
Yeah, no, I very much enjoy being here, so I'm happy Lane reached out.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I just picked up a new pixel artist today for Asterisk.
Yes.
So hopefully, we're going to be making some more progress over the next month or two.
Cool. Looking forward to seeing that.
All right. Well, thanks for having me. I'll see you guys.
Bye.
Later, Evan.
Ryan, would you be able to stick around and play Tabletop Simulator with us if you have a copy?
Yeah, I would definitely love to as well, but I think I got a dip as well, unfortunately. Yep.
No problem. All right.
Lena,
thank you so much.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. And
thanks for bringing
all the
Emery back. I
feedback.
love every time we see it. There's like there's just 7,000 more things to talk about, which is cool.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I mean, I definitely am working on it all the time, and there are a lot of things that I wish I could get to, but
I can sense that final third of development in your voice. Like,
yeah.
I understand how not fun it is,
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because you did all the fun stuff already.
Right. Yeah. Well. Thanks for having me. I'm glad to show up anytime.
Yeah.
Let's stay in touch.
Yeah. Thanks again.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Lane.
Rad.
Would Dale and I be able to play, or would the
Yes,
three of
room
us
for you
play,
guys. Yes. We've got 35 minutes, so we're gonna pedal to the metal here.
All right.
We can go
Please
long.
join
It's fine.
In my TTS room called Triumph. It is a friends-only one. So you guys should be able to make it in here.
Okay.
Oh, I see it. And I did not spell
Perfect.
triumph right my first time.
Yes.
Good thing I'm friends with you.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
that's right.
So I'm going to have to ask you to be seated on the south side of the table, away from the pond.
So, you mean the horsey guy?
All board game pieces are called pawns, Dale.
Pretty sure that's not right. I'm going to be yellow. Am I in the correct location?
Dale, you are killing it, as always.
Yeah. Okay, so far I like this game because it's really easy.
Yo,
Sat on the
you
right
click
side of the
right color.
table.
Yeah. Mark just needs to hit orange or green, and we will be on our way.
All right. I've been lagging behind a bit. Forgot to start up Steam before I loaded the tabletop.
Oh.
No worries. No
I
worries.
will be green.
Perfect. Okay. Cool. All right. So let's see. So this is a game that I worked on starting like 10 years ago. And yeah. What's up, Dale?
10 years ago? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've
yeah.
heard tales of this game, but I've never played it myself.
Oh man, this predates Vengeance by like 3 years. I was working on this one. I knew not how to code at all. However, I've been on a big hiatus because as much as I enjoyed this game, this was what I would call a 3%er. 3% of the time, the game was fantastic, but like 50% of the time, it was super boring, and 47% of the time, it was closer to boring than it was to super fantastic. So I've been trying to juice up the stats a little bit and make it like a little more fun than it was before. So what I'm really looking forward to right now, what I'm looking for in terms of feedback is like how confusing are things? Because I know that it's possible to make a pretty interesting game here, but I need to know like how like grokkable are the core mechanics. So I'm going to go through the teach here, and then we'll probably go through just like one round. The game is usually going to be played for over the course of 3 acts that should take about 1 hour, but we can hopefully blitz through 1 act and just see how that goes.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, so this is a game that's designed to take a long time. Okay, I see.
Yes, it is. Yes, because, and this is why you, Mark LaCroix, are the perfect person who would probably not enjoy this game, because I have known you in the past to take like deck builders or like roguelike games and be like the character, the building, the like creating the right build in those games is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but how interesting do you find that?
I find it is the most boring thing in games. Like,
okay,
fantastic. I mean, so many people like it though, so like it's hard for me to make the case. But my god, I get so bored, and I'm like I have no patience for it. So hopefully, if this holds an iota of my interest, then you have a huge win on your hands.
So I have 2 things that I classify as the most boring things in games.
Yeah.
Number 1 is setting up the game Risk.
Yeah, the actual game called
Risk.
Yes, the game Risk. Have not played it because it takes so long to set up that I'm bored by the time you're ready to play. Number 2 is chess. So let's get rid of this horsey guy now, huh?
Yeah. So Dale doesn't like what I really like in games, which is like heavily strategic, sort of narrative branch imagination, like what is 3 moves down the way. That kind of thing. I love thinking about every possible move and the outcome of every possible move and if-thens. I love that stuff. Dale hates it.
Okay.
I like to do stuff.
So you guys are really going to split the perfect negative audience for this game, because this game involves
I hate it already.
deck building, like build strategy, and also thinking multiple moves ahead. So you guys could not be more perfect as people who won't enjoy the game. But I think that you are going to be able to give me a lot of good feedback in terms of just understanding the like base level of the game.
Okay.
And that's really what we have time for, honestly. Okay. So let's get this started. So you behold in front of you the most the most common part of a game made in the last 15 years, which is you have a deck, and believe it or not, that is a deck of some like low level cards, and you're going to be able to improve this deck as we go on. So taking a look at what's in here,
it's a magic hammer.
There you go. Yep, you can see all the cards that you have in your deck right here.
A spear?
Yes. And
a buckler?
Is this randomized or is the same for every player?
You got it. Okay. Yep. So the story of what's going on here is that there has been a proclamation from the dying king of the realm saying that the world is full of grisly terrors and great beasts, and whoever slays the most grisly terrors and great beasts is going to become the new ruler of the land. And unfortunately, there is a third plague. There's not just grizzly terrors and great beasts. There are also a whole bunch of lawyers in the kingdom. And the small print on the proclamation is that what is meant by that is whoever kills the most, whoever lands the killing blow on the most grizzly terrors and great beasts is going to become the new ruler.
So you're making almost a meta comment on that common thing in multiplayer co-op games.
100%, yes, because this game, the core of this game is what if kill stealing in League of Legends, but fun, or was like the whole point of the game. Yeah, it's got some play to it, and so I figure like might as well try to build something around that. So
I like that. It remains to be seen, but that as a core concept is really interesting to me. Like, even if you're not familiar with that trope or that mechanic in other games, I think that is something that people can grasp onto. One of the problems I have with deck building games and games that are complicated is that there's not one founding idea, like independent of one mechanic, because it can have a million mechanics. But knowing that that's the main thing about it is, I think, a big win already.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh, geez, Dale, you have discovered that I don't have anything coded in this game. Please do not abuse other people's cards. The whole experience is going to fall apart if you do that.
I just put your cards back together in a deck.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
And threw them off the table briefly.
So let's go ahead and there's probably some fast way to do this, but just like if you have your deck face down and you draw 5 cards here.
Okay, 5.
Oh, into our hands. Okay.
1.
Correct. Yep. Sticking with the tropes of the genre, you have 5 cards in your hand, and somehow a Warhammer has snuck its way into my deck. I'm gonna get rid of that.
I have a Warhammer too.
As do I.
Should we get rid of it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I suspect that should be no. Yeah, that should be a spear instead. So please add a spear to your deck.
There's 12 cards in your deck. Or there
Correct.
should be?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now I know where it is. So.
Let me put this back here and shuffle it.
Well, I was too lazy to do that, so we're good. Okay.
Thank you very much. Okay, so here's the part where I get some pay dirt, regardless of how everything else goes, because I get to practice like walking people through the rules. Mm-hmm. So, as is the genre trope, you have 5 cards in your hand. Now, you can see over here on the far end of the board, we have a indicator here that represents the enemy's health. We're going to go through. In a normal game, you would go through 3 acts, and an act is for a 3-player game. You're going to take 3 enemies from the first deck, and you're going to fight them back to back in a single act. So we'll take 1, and we will flip this. And so our first enemy is going to be a Draugr Witch, which is going to be at 20 health. On your turn, you will play 1 card from your hand. You will do damage equal to the number in the upper left corner. So I might play a short sword and deduct 2 health from the enemy. And then turn will proceed in clockwise order. After you play a card on your turn, then you draw back up to 5 cards. And like every deck builder, if you ever run out of cards, if you can't draw enough cards, you'll take cards from your played card pile, your discard pile, and you'll shuffle those back into your deck. Any questions on that so far?
We're good.
Thanks. So yeah, we're good.
Who goes first?
Excellent. We're just going to say it's going to be me. And the enemy also gets a turn. The enemy is going to be positioned here before me, where the token is, where the knight is. Mm-hmm. And on the enemy's turn, here's what's going to happen. So at the very start of the game, we are going to take a card from the intent deck, and we're going to flip it over. So on the enemy's turn, it's going to use the attack Owl. So I'm going to take the first turn. I'll play a card, then Dale, then Mark. And then on its turn, it's going to use this. So you can see 1 round ahead of time what the enemy is going to do. On the enemy turn, it's going to use Howl, which is the most complicated ability. It's going to add a random strength token. So the enemy's attacks are going to do more damage for the rest of the game after it uses Howl. Other attacks in here are things like Bash, where it'll do 3 damage to a particular player. Flurry, where it does damage to everybody twice. Cleave, where it does damage to everybody. And the other one in here is Lunge.
Lunge.
Does, 2 damage, and unblocked damage dealt by Lunge is doubled. So that's all the stuff that's in there.
Okay.
Okay.
Flip it over and randomize it. I'll randomize it. Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're on it.
Let's see. Outside of that, the other thing is you'll notice that some cards in your hand have the word block on them. Whenever you take damage, you can discard any number of cards that have block on them, and you will take that much less damage. The caveat that I'm testing out right now is that you can, for whenever you take damage, each card that you block with has to have has to be different, has to have a different name. So you can't block with 2 bucklers, but you can block with a buckler and a plate mail.
Okay.
And then finally, there's one more thing that you got to know, which is your magic hammer. As you can see, this has an ability on it. It says play, forge a card in your discard pile. And what that means is what you do is you take a card in your discard pile, destroy it, just get rid of it forever, and then you can convert it in some way. So you would go, like let's say that I got rid of a 3. I could move it up to a 4, down to a 2, or I could enchant it, which would be I would replace it in my discard pile with a 3 that has one of these little florets here in the upper left. So that is an enchanted 3. So it's a 3, but it has an ability on it.
I'm glad I know what enchantment looks like now.
Yep.
Okay.
Let's go. But real quick, we get a question in the chat about the art, and we've talked about that in previous games we've tested on here. But talk about getting the art onto these games for this, these cards for this prototype.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like some of the previous games that we've seen here, this is 100% like stand-in art. This is me like Googling stuff, taking stuff off of Pinterest, and putting it in here. This is not like an artist that I know or anything. It's totally stand-in while I test the mechanics.
Yeah, it's meant for game feel. Now, the card back here, you've got a little bit of a logo type here going, and a card back that I assume you found someplace. But it's all pretty well put together, and I think a lot of the reason people do that is to give people the feel of a finished game, so they're not really thinking about what's this going to look like, even though it's going to look ultimately nothing like this in the end, right?
Yeah, absolutely correct. This will probably, because it will have a lot of unique art pieces, it will probably be more similar to something like a Munchkin type game, where the background of every card is just normal, and then the object itself is drawn. But having these like full scene things with the standard and then the background, that's just way too much for me to be pursuing right now.
Sure.
Okay. Let's go.
Fantastic. All right,
Liam's
so
going first.
Perfect. And I'll just move the health tracker down here for easier use, and I will bonk it with a short sword, and they'll go down to 18.
Okay.
And at end of my turn, I will draw back up to 5.
Okay, I'm also going to bonk it with my short sword.
Okay, down to 16.
And I will hit it with this spear.
Fabulous.
Is there a reason to not choose the highest card in my hand right now?
Ooh, great question. So you and I missed this, but like the thing, the main goal of the game is to be the person that kills the most enemies. So you may want to hold back a powerful card or more potentially. There may be reasons to do that. If that'll help you kill it. Now you can see with this witch, you can see the reward for killing it underneath it, which is 1 VP, then gain a talent. A talent is one of these cards, and it's just a permanent passive ability. So killing this makes you slightly stronger, and it gives you a victory point.
Okay. So yeah, if you hide a powerful card in your hand, because as the hit points get lower and lower, you don't want to give the next person the killing blow. But if you have I get it. That makes sense.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yep.
On we go.
Okay, fantastic. So the enemy will use its Howl ability, and the Howl is going to reveal a strength token. So from now on, bashes do 1 additional damage. Its intent next turn is Flurry, so it's going to do 1 damage to everybody, and then do it again. And isn't this interesting? I didn't give you guys health trackers, so
we can spawn new. We can duplicate the existing.
Yeah.
Thing.
Yeah. So there you go. You should be at 6 health to start with.
Oh dang! Good thing I brought all my friends. With me to fight this witch thing, because I'm not.
Yes.
I'm like less than half her health.
Yes. Oh, and I forgot she has this passive ability here. So when you deal damage to Draugr Witch, discard that many cards. Okay.
Okay, so if since you and I both damaged 2, we would take another card out of our hand.
In your hand and discard it, but let's not go back in time and deal
Okay.
that. Let's just do
Sounds
that.
good.
Do that starting right now. Okay.
Sounds good.
Perfect. I'm just gonna take a look at what is available in the discard pile here, or in the smithy here in these cards.
Okay, yep. I was gonna go.
Sorry, I was distracted changing the color of everybody's timer. Did we take damage just now?
No.
Okay.
The enemy did a thing that buffed itself, so it has gained this this buff. Bashes do 1 more damage now.
Oh, but it is not attacked yet.
That is correct. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use a spear. I will get this down to 10, and because of the witch's passive, I have to discard 3 cards, so I'm going to discard these 3 bucklers.
Okay. So I am going to do buckler.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So I take down 1, and then I discard an extra card.
Perfect. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Then I draw back up to 5.
I don't understand that discard mechanic. Why is Dale discarding an extra card?
Fantastic. Yeah, because the enemy here, it has this ability at the bottom. When you deal damage to Draugr Witch, discard that many cards.
Oh, and we've had to do that from the start. Okay.
Yeah, we
Yes.
just
I just
Oh, I see.
to point that out.
Now I'm remembering that you did say that. Okay, I'm gonna do this magic hammer.
Yes.
And so I'm gonna forge this spear. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I pick something with a 3 on it.
Or you can convert it down to a short sword, or more likely up to a warhammer.
Oh, that would be a better option, you'd think?
Well, the options here are like you can convert it to Resolute Standard, you can convert it to Crusader's Pike, or you can convert it to short sword or warhammer.
If the mantra's intent is howl, which it is, right?
Howl is in the discard pile. The current intent is flurry.
Oh, and that's per turn. Okay, great. Well, I'll do this warhammer thing because that's simple enough. Okay. Right. Put that into my hand, and then I do 2 damage.
Okay, so do you put it into your hand or do you put it into your discard pile?
Oh, yeah.
You, in fact, put it into your discard pile. You are correct.
Sorry, where do I put this warhammer?
Goes into your discard pile. Yep.
Oh, okay, because that comes back later. Okay.
Yeah, so you don't just get it right away.
Yeah. But
All right,
I don't put it into my draw pile, though.
Perfect. And then the witch's ability makes you discard 2 cards, and then you'll draw back up to 5 mark.
Okay. So I guess I'll just get rid of these then. Yeah, let's get rid of these.
Awesome. Okay. On the enemy's turn, she uses Flurry, so she's going to do 1 damage to all of us, and then she's going to do 1 damage to all of us again. So I'm taking 2.
Okay, and do I get a block thingy from my using?
You do. Yeah,
block?
you can discard.
Okay.
You can discard a buckler, and you can actually discard a buckler for each instance of damage here. So you could discard 2 in order to. Yep.
Okay. Look, I'm still healthy. Suckers. Wait,
Cool. Now,
do I not? I don't draw up then because it's not my turn.
correct. Yes.
Okay,
If
cool.
you block, you do have fewer options on your next turn.
Okay, that's cool.
Okay.
Next.
Great. Yep. And so the next intent is a bash, and you can see that the bash is going to go clockwise 1. I really should have a curly Q arrow there so you can see a little bit more easily, but it's specifically going to bash me because it's 1 to the right.
Cool. I like that.
Okay.
So the thing I'm not quite understanding is that all of these intents, but at no point has the enemy attacked yet. I feel like I'm missing
The
something
enemy
vital
has
here.
just attacked using Flurry.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So
Yep.
on the
So
enemy's turn,
Dale and I need to lose some hit points here.
I blocked those,
Okay.
so I'm fine.
All right, but I need to go down. That's the part I was like, when do I do that? Okay, got it.
Okay.
oh, very good, very good. Okay, this is all great feedback for me. Okay, so now I'm thinking like I want to protect myself. I want to forge my spear, but I also am thinking like, do I really want to attack for a big number because that would make it very easy for you guys to kill. I think what I'll do is I will magic hammer here, take this. Oops. Wow. Okay. Convert this spear up to a warhammer. Discard 2. And then on to Dale's turn. So this is going to go down to 5.
Now, Lane, you're stacking these cards in front of you in a way that you can keep track of all of them. Is
Yep.
that something we should all be doing?
You do. You actually should, because the cards in your discard pile, you actually do care about them. Partially because Magic Hammer is such a big part of the game. You're going to be wanting to see those cards. So you can see what you can forge.
Okay, so I want to play my Magic Hammer.
Mm.
And then my best card in my discard right now is not a thingy. Ugh, okay. Sorry, it's the short sword. So I want to get something that's enchanted. Please. So do I get to pick a 2 enchantment or a 3 enchantment?
What did you just forge away? You got rid of a short sword?
Yeah.
Okay, so the short sword, you can convert it to this straight edge here, because that is a 2 with a single enchantment tip.
Oh, okay.
Or you can convert it down to a buckler or up to a spear.
I'm gonna take it to a straight edge. I don't know what it is, but it looks like... Okay, whatever. It's mine now.
Okay, fantastic. Replace it with spiked shield there. Okay.
All right, I'm going to do this spear because it kills the thing.
Awesome. All right, so you get 1 victory point,
And I also need to discard 3 cards?
That is correct. Yes, you do.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, but I need to discard 2 cards. Bloop, bloop. Okay. Go all into that thing.
Okay. And when you kill Draugr Witch, you get 1 victory point. And you also get a talent card. So you now gain the Berserker talent card.
Okay, cool. And that was you just drew that card.
That was just totally random. Yep.
Cool.
Exactly. Okay. So
And
when an enemy dies, we immediately replace it with the next one. Bone Construct. It has 1 armor, so it takes 1 less damage from every attack. When you play an attack card, you may discard a card of the same value to remove its armor until the end of the turn.
Okay. All right, so I'm drawing back up to 5, but I only 4 left, so I shuffle my discards and put it right.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
Oh, I'm trying like that's there. Okay, 1.
Okay. Now, when you kill the monster, it goes... I'm not exactly sure. This is definitely something that I'm unsure about. But what I was thinking of doing is for balance purposes, after it reveals its next intent card. And then it will take its next turn after you. That seems very inelegant to me. But I'm still working on that. Maybe it should just continue as if nothing happened. I'm not sure.
Talk through. I'm not quite sure what you're saying. What are the 2 options you're deciding between?
I am saying that what's going to happen is when you kill the monster, the enemy goes after you.
The next enemy.
Yes, correct.
Okay. It goes after me because I'm the one who killed it.
Exactly.
Oh,
So then we reveal its next intent, which is bash, and then it's on to my turn. Okay.
So when you say it goes after me, like this knight pawn here.
Yes.
What purpose does that serve now? Like I thought that meant who the monster attacks, but that didn't seem to be what was happening last round.
No, this is its place in the turn order.
Oh, I see. Okay. So it's so really it could be here.
It could be there. Correct.
Oh, okay, I see.
Okay.
All right. So I will play a buckler and deal 0 damage. Go ahead, Dale.
What? How come you got to deal 0 damage?
Because it has armor.
Because I played 1 and it has 1 armor, so it will take 1 less damage from attacks.
Oh. Ugh. Okay, I'm gonna spirit.
Okay. So
Okay.
it's 2 damage.
Cool. And Dale, its ability is, if you want to take advantage of this, is when you play an attack card, which you just did, you may discard a card of the same value, so another 3, to remove its armor until end of turn.
Which only applies to my attack.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna do that.
Correct.
Because
Okay,
why not?
so you will, instead of dealing 2, you will deal 3. Great.
Okay.
Oh, so Dale gets to deal the full damage. So that's a bit of it. It says when you play an attack card. So basically, in order to do this, Dale would be playing both the cards at the same time as one attack.
Perfect. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I should change this to, instead of saying until end of turn, it should say for this attack.
Right, because it doesn't apply to me. I thought it meant that the armor is off, and then they only put the armor back on when it's their turn to go.
Yeah, absolutely. You are 100% correct. I will definitely change that.
Well, I actually like that because then certainly, if you got a bunch of bucklers and you're trying to score 0 damage, so you don't, you know what I mean? That there could be some interaction with other players by taking out the enemy's armor, right?
Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's my turn. So I guess I'm confused as to which is the truth, but you'll just tell me when I play my attack.
No, it is for this attack instead of until end of turn.
Okay. All right. So I am going to. What's that, Dan?
While Mark's deciding, I'm gonna ask. Oh nope. I'm going to summarize the Dorfmeister question in the thing, which is: do you have to play an attack card on your turn? And Lane says, yes, you do.
All right, I'm going to play a buckler, and that's it, I guess.
And that does nothing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure how smart
Correct.
to do that.
All right. So the enemy will attack. It will, because it's here, it will execute its bash attack, and that is 3 damage to Mark.
All right, and I can I now decide to use any blocks that I have in my hand?
You can, yes.
Okay, so I should have used the other buckler in my hand, but I'm just going to do 1 here. And so I'm going to lose 2.
Perfect.
Okay.
And the enemy's next attack is lunge. It will go this way twice, so it's going to be not me, but it will be Dale.
Okay.
And it'll do 2 damage to you, and any unblocked damage is going to be doubled.
Oh, okay. So I will want to block that, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that would be very good.
Unblocked damage all damage?
It's damage that is not blocked.
Right, but damage that's blocked does 0. So doesn't that just mean any damage?
Yeah,
is
but
doubled?
the buckler doesn't block 2 damage. It only blocks 1 damage. Yeah.
Right. So it does 2 damage to Dale, and if Dale blocks 1 of them, then the remaining damage. Okay, it just unblocked damage seems to create a category of damage. That makes sense. Just seemed a little bit confusing.
Yep. Yeah, it totally does. That is a thing that would be spelled out in the rulebook. Because I don't have a more at least currently don't have a more concise way I don't have any concise way to get that whole idea across.
Because if you said all damage is doubled, then it would have to be all damage after blocks happen.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, 100%. Let's see. I'm going to. Okay, I definitely want to hammer. So cut this down, and I will turn that into a plate mail. And go ahead, Dale.
Okay, I am going to magic hammer. I'm going to trade. So I put my spear back. And I'm going to trade it in for a warhammer.
Cool.
In my discard pile, which I totally know what it is. Okay, cool.
Awesome. And I'll take that enemy health down one.
Now, I blocked some damage, so I only have 4 cards, and I don't draw up until after I play cards this round. Right?
Perfect. Yes, that is totally true.
Okay.
I
guess I will. Let's see what's going on in here. I will play the magic hammer, and I will forge this thing into this enchanted thing, just for fun.
Yay!
So it goes here. And that does 1 damage because it's.
Yes. This, by the way, has a enchantment of 2, so you can only get there if you convert either a double enchanted 0, a double enchanted 2, or a single enchanted 1.
So I can't do this.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so I'll just do this one then.
Okay. Fantastic. Okay. So, all right. So enemy's turn. It will use lunge, and so it's going to do 2 damage to you, Dale.
I would like to block 1.
Awesome. Okay, so 1 unblocked damage, which is doubled to 2.
Okay. So now
Next
I'm at
intent
4.
is going to be Bash. It is going to attack me for 4 damage.
Cool.
Which little sour about here. All right, let's go ahead.
Why 4?
Because it's going to do 3, and then it has this buff here.
And that buff was from.
But that buff was from the Dragger Witch from before.
Correct. Yes.
It goes to the next enemy
This just
too.
stays in effect for the rest of the game.
They are permanent. Yes. If a earlier enemy howls, it will make the rest of the game harder.
So
that is confusing.
In terms of communication, this is a add 1 to Bash.
It is.
And so that's interesting because it only applies that specific one. When it says deal 3 damage, it should be deal.
Well, maybe it's a problem with the wording on the howl. Because what does the howl say? Can we pop back and look at that? Nope. Dale doesn't know how to do that.
I was just thinking, like, is Bash always 3? Is that what that card always says? Lane?
Oh.
Lane, did we lose you?
I think we did. Okay.
Okay,
This
we go.
says
So
add a random strength token. And maybe that's what can be... Okay, so Mark was asking, is Bash always 3 damage? So then, like, that might be more specifically called out.
This here could totally have like some text on it. There's like ample room. It could totally say something like Bash does +1 damage or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now deals 4.
I was asking, is the Bash intent always do 3 damage?
It is always deal 3 damage. Yes.
Then maybe what it should say is Bash should just say nothing, and then you should have a little table or something like this is how much Bash does or whatever, like a counter or something.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like do Bash damage. And what is Bash damage? It's 3 plus these cards. Like or what, you know what I mean? Instead of the card itself saying does 3 damage.
Yeah, and I was gonna say there could be some clarity on the Howl card saying for enemies this round, add. For all enemies this round, add 1 strength token.
Okay. It is for the rest of the game.
Mm-hmm.
For the rest of the game?
Yeah.
Correct.
That's very...
It's a mechanic that's in a lot of games that you probably have not played. Dale.
Okay. Is that my problem?
No, but it does seem very strange, like because it is kind of objectively kind of strange, but it's pretty
like,
common.
How
mechanic.
does it make everything else stronger?
Well, I think the idea is it's a balance against us as we get stronger.
And that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, whose turn is it now?
Yeah, it is mine. It is mine.
Okay.
So I'll go ahead and use 2 spears so that I do a total of 3 damage.
Okay.
Okay, so now it's at 4?
Yep.
Okay. I am going to use my magic hammer to make my...
Oh, Dale, what? No!
I know Mark's gonna be able to kill this thing too, but I really want some awesome stuff, so I'm gonna convert my warhammer into a broadsword.
Okay.
Doo, 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 doo.
And you do only 1 damage, unless you want to play another 2.
Oh.
Do that, Dale?
What?
I think he's got it either way. So whatever.
No, I'll do 1 damage. That's cool.
Okay.
All right, my turn now. Yeah, I would
Yes.
need 2 3s in my hand to kill it now. So the chances of that are not high. And I can tell you now, I don't have 2 3s in my hand. Viewers already know. So basically, I want to do no damage because... but here's the thing. It's not going to... Now we're just playing a game of chicken, but I only have 2 hit points. So I kind of just want it to kill Lane. So that Dale does 1 more damage and then I can finish it off. It's a weird the push and pull on the incentives is really good. I like that a lot. So I guess I'll do it. I'll play this buckler and do 0 damage.
Oh no. Okay, all right. So on its turn, it does 3, and it does get this +1, so it'll do 4 to me. Fortunately, I do have a buckler in my hand, so I can block 1 of that and go down to 1. I did create. Oh shoot! And so the enemy's next intent is a flirt. On my turn, I did craft this earlier, so I will use my Warhammer and deal 3 to the enemy. So when the enemy dies, I'll get the 4 VPs there. The enemy will go here. I will draw back up. And then, by the way, our last enemy here of the night, I know that we're about to go over time here, but our last enemy of the night is going to be Molten Rager. So it has +1 armor, while its intent is bash or lunge. And its intent is going to be, cleave. Okay, so on its next turn, it's going to do 2 damage to everybody. Okay. So it's going to go here. And so, Dale, you can go next.
Okay, so I am going to 3 spear this thing. And
Perfect.
So then it
and
goes
it's
down.
totally normal, so it just does 3. Yep.
Okay.
Okey-doke. I am going to... I guess I'll also 3 spirit.
Cool.
Oops, sorry.
Sorry, I shouldn't be doing that for you. Bad manners by me. Okay. Oh, jeez. Plate mail, why can't you be in my hand? Oh, man. Okay, I'll just...
Yeah, you're just trying to do the math of like 2, then 3, then 3. It's like that scene in Clue, like 1 + 2 + 1 + 1. No, +2 + 1 + 2 +, to sort of see if you can get to 0. But you never really know what's in the other player's hand, and it's unless you're doing some severe card counting. So there's a little bit of like caution to the wind, which is nice.
And I'll say it gets a lot tighter when it's down to 2 players. So we're about to see this because I'm about to die, folks. So
yeah.
I will just short sword it. It'll go down to 7.
Right.
And
You
it's the
can
end
do
of my
some king
turn.
making. If your final blow before you die, you could try to engineer it to do enough damage to hope that another of the specific player is the one who gets it. And you have some limited control over that, but not full control. So that's good.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's a thing that helps to like keep the games a little bit closer because like I would king make for like Dale here if you were ahead, Mark, that kind of thing.
Right.
Okay, but anyway, so on the enemy's turn, it is going to use cleave, so it's going to do 2 damage to everybody. I'm going to block 1, but I'm going to die anyway. So
I will block 1.
I will also block 1. Minus. Okay.
Great. Okay. And then the enemy's next attempt is going to be bash. I mean, it's going to bash counterclockwise, so it's going to bash Mark.
Joke's on it. I only have 1 hit point to lose. So
it's Lane's turn?
he's dead. It's your turn.
Oh.
I'm dead, Dale. You can go.
Okay. I'm going to do 2 short sword. -2.
Now, if I don't have any block in my hand, and I don't, I'm pretty much... There's no way I'm gonna survive to have a chance. So there's a little bit of fatalism at this point. Like, Lane, you had some control when you were dying, but not a lot. And I have even less. But that's just a matter of randomness. It's not like a endemic thing of the game. But I'm just wondering,
by the way, there were previous versions of the game that didn't prognosticate what the enemy does ahead of time, and that's something that I'm totally testing for the first time ever right now.
Okay.
Well, I like it. I think it's good because more information is better in a game like this. I'm just trying to think of like what now, there's no pass, and I think that's good because that would break.
There can't be a pass. Yeah, pass.
But my current
destroys
move,
the game.
Other than putting a card in the discard pile, which has some utility, but it's extremely minor. I don't have any interesting choices to make, but I have to make a choice.
Yeah, your only plays here, as far as I can tell, is there are ways that you could play a card that either just like you could play a 0 or 1, just do as little as possible, or you could play a magic hammer if you've got one to just at least advance yourself in the next act.
Right, and but I'll die. So in the next act though,
So doesn't the next act do you both get revived?
Yes, in the next act, we all come back to life with full health. We all get to choose one of 3 talents, and then we move on to the next fight.
Okay. I mean, I'd like it if you're both dead and then I became king of nobody.
Yeah.
But, whatever.
I'm going to forge the other magic hammer into something else. Some other 2. Is there a this rune carver? Let's do that one. Just because it has more stars on it.
Good. Must be better.
And where do the magic hammers go? I guess there were none.
Oh,
So.
yeah, I don't have a trash pile for that. That's good enough.
And so that does 2 damage. And then I draw back up.
Correct. Okay. So on enemy's turn is going to use bash. The bash is going to do 4 damage to Mark. Predictable results. And then Dale, you can go.
Okay. Dale is going to.
Well, wait a minute. Doesn't it have to do a new intent now?
Yeah.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Yeah. It
Tell
is
me
going
about
to
it.
rip, lunge. So it's going to attack Dale for 2 damage and unblock is doubled.
Okay, so I'm going to short sword it for -2.
Okay.
Okay.
It is going to lunge you for 2.
Okay. Oh wait, hold on.
Oh yeah, you should
Now
shuffle
I
these
need
and
to
draw.
flip.
Yeah.
If you right-click them and do group, when you select them all, it'll put them into a deck.
Okay, fantastic. That's what I've been missing all these years. Okay, now I'm going to shuffle them.
That's a new feature to Tabletop Simulator. It was introduced maybe a month or 2 ago.
Okay, so now now I draw one because I just discarded, right?
Yeah.
Flip. Okay, and then I'm going to block one of those damage, so I take 2 damage, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Its next intent is going to be it will howl on its next turn.
Okay, so I am going to play a buckler, which is going to take it down
Fantastic.
to kill
Yes.
it, and I get some amount of victory points.
Yeah.
And
You get 2 VPs, and then you upgrade the last played attack. So you get to forge that 1 for free.
ooh,
That's cool.
yep. Okay, so I want, instead of this 1, I want probably a 2, huh?
I mean, the 0 is kind of fun.
No, it's not.
Okay. I mean, we got to do 0 damage because that one enemy had armor, but Lane played one a while ago, and it seems like there's definitely some
Correct.
utility to passing the buck a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Okay. Well, cool.
Okay, we lost Lane.
We lost Lane again. We'll give him a second. He always comes back, folks.
That's true.
Playing back. Do you hear me now?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. So I learned like so much just watching you guys here. But if there's any final comments that you guys have on this before we wrap things up, yeah, hit me.
What do you think, Dale?
It's okay. I don't understand.
High praise, actually.
I don't understand what a buckler is.
Like what it is in real life? Like what it's named after?
Yeah.
Lane?
Fair.
Just so you know, I like from the picture, I'm gonna assume you hit it with your shield.
Correct.
So is a buckler a name for a shield?
Correct.
Well, it's like
Yes.
something that buckles against a braced against something for yeah.
Yeah.
I made some assumptions there. I've never heard that word before, but I guessed it was something like that.
Perfect. Yeah. It is a simple type of shield. But like, there's no reason why that card couldn't just be called shield. You know.
There's some style to it that having a non-standard terminology. I think that's cool. But then in that case, you might want to have more of that. So like instead of
Yes.
a spear, it could be a pike. Like.
Okay, that's a good point. That is great. Yeah, because the spear is so much more basic of a term than buckler.
Yeah.
That's good.
This wraps in a little bit of what we were talking about before. That practice of using this temp art is
Yes.
The criticism I have of that, and it's still a good practice. But the drawback you have when you do that is it kind of it anchors you a little bit. That's why a lot of games look this way. It's because they use the temp art for Magic the Gathering, and then they all kind of look like Magic the Gathering.
Yes.
And so it's kind of hard to think outside of that box. And it's difficult to develop your own unique theme. But I would recommend. I mean, at the same time, you get a lot of benefits from that level of polish. So I'm not saying it's a bad practice, but there are like lots of pitfalls that I don't think people recognize.
I think that you're absolutely right. Like so there are so many games, really, like even in this community that are like have a very generic fantasy feel because of exactly what you're talking about.
But I'll tell you,
I honestly think that my little story is like kind of leans towards being a little bit goofier, and just like there's not that much goofier. And I'll probably go towards more silly stuff when I actually get the art like commission.
I really like the story setup. I think that's fun. Like it doesn't have to play a lot into the mechanics, but you including that in the teach was really cool. I liked that a lot. And it gives me a sense of like what this is all for. When games that have lots of like fiddling with numbers and stuff, it tends to the closer you can get to the story of it and keep that top of mind, the less silly you feel playing a game like that. In my mind, anyway.
Yes.
But I will say the reason I was bringing this all up is because I really like buckler, because I've just never heard that anywhere else, and it's kind of like as another name for a thing. It's the one piece of terminology I'll remember from this game, and so I think
awesome.
more of that would be good. Now you don't need to replace everything with it. You don't need to have different words for sword or shield in other contexts necessarily, but a little bit of that flavor helps it make it your own. But anyway, that's apart from the play. I think my general feedback on that is the deck building stuff. It's less torturous for me because I'm deck building as a consequence of play, rather than as a first order strategy, which is so boring. That said, the cards you choose to discard and the magic hammer forging, which is interesting because forging seems to be a core mechanic of the game, but it's limited to a specific card. Which feels strange, but it works. It just feels a little strange. Like it almost feels like it should be an action instead of a card. But then again, I don't. That might change a lot of balance or whatever. Anyway, as a consequence of play, so it doesn't really get in my face. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't impede my ability to enjoy it. I do worry a little bit that I will become disadvantaged for not having leaned into the strategy of deck building later in the game. In which case I won't realize I'm doing that. Like you'll get other players, maybe not exactly players like me, but because the game doesn't force you to engage with that mechanic, that makes me happier. But it also might disadvantage me later because I didn't pick up any skills on that.
Right, and I think that a core thing, like something I really want to do for that is make it so that like the default length of the game, like when you first pick it up, is like 2x, 3x, something like that, and then so that the game, once you reach that point where deck building is very important, the game doesn't like drag on for everybody. But I do think that it would be nice for the people who really want to get into deck building, have a like optional fourth act where you can get really into the deck building stuff.
Sure. I mean, it's obvious for me, but like just playing through this first round, like there's some randomness to it, but also I have enough variety in my hand. I have enough control as to what I add to my hand or upgrade or downgrade that I feel like it's pretty good as is. Like I don't have a lot of like, other than the fear I have that I won't be min-maxing the way I should. It feels really good. Like I like how I'm not torturing over every decision, which in a game like this can be really distracting. There's just that there's just that one spot where I felt like I couldn't make an interesting decision, but it only just happened that once, and it doesn't seem like it's worth making a lot of changes to fix that. It always seemed like playing towards. I mean, it's a pick up sticks game where you try to pick up the last one. It's the same kind of mechanic, and it's not drowned in too many stats and numbers. So I'm pretty pleased with it. I think there's a bunch of abilities on these on the enchanted cards that I don't know that I would find myself super interested in later on.
Right.
But I mean, just a game of how much attack do you do, and like having to do an attack. So like my hand currently is 2 3s and 3 2s, so my abilities are limited, and I like that a lot because it's like I can only do so much. So how do I play strategically with the limited abilities I have? And then it's like, oh, I can't make a great move, so I'll just make my best move and move on. And I really quite like that about it. That I'm constrained in what I'm able to do, so that my possibility space I can navigate it. If that makes sense.
Good. That's fantastic. That's fantastic to hear. And I do want to say, like, yeah, I think that getting people or getting these abilities into the point where they are like simple and like I guess like charismatic enough in a way to like attract people to like want to build around them is going to be maybe the biggest ongoing challenge here, because I think that they work, but like how do you sort of like use fun abilities to sort of teach people that like this is ultimately later in the game what you care about the most.
Right. I also really like the 3, even though we haven't played through the 3 acts, I really quite like that where if one or more of us dies. I mean, I suppose if all of us die, the game is over. Is that at any point?
If everybody dies, then everybody comes back to life, heals up, and you just move on to the next act. You keep going.
Oh, okay,
just nobody gets those victory points of the last
monster.
monster.
I was sort of thinking like there's a strategy to, like, I don't want other players to die, but I also I kind of want there to be a moment where I choose to do some damage, or to do something so that the last player, so that we all don't die at the cost of letting somebody else. Because the game doesn't feel very co-op right now, and I don't know if that's what your aim for it is, but you're very close to a game that fights between cooperative and co-op, which, as you know, I like that push and pull.
Yes.
And so I like the idea, like, if Dale couldn't defeat the enemy at the end, well, then you and I would be dumb for sort of like letting it attack her, and you know what I mean, or not fighting it fast enough. You know what I mean? Like, there's some hubris involved in, like, well, I'm gonna do 0 damage or least damage as much as possible, because I'm kind of always motivated to do as little damage as possible, except for the fact that I may die. But that also means you guys might die. And so, like, if we're all bluffing, it's a prisoner's dilemma. If we're all trying to do as little damage as possible, then we lose as a team. And that feels, you're like on the verge of that being a really interesting motivation for players to fight against their selfish needs to deliver the final blow.
That is an excellent point. And I will say that your instincts are 100% correct. That is a situation that came up in the past when I had previous versions of this game, and I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I think that I like made it so that enemies don't have a lot of health, but you fight multiple of them. It used to be that like an act, what would be an act would be like one enemy, but would have like 45 health. So there would be like just less going on.
I like the numbers seem pretty good. Like, it seemed the right amount of rounds for at least for 3 players to take down a 15. That seemed pretty good. So the larger point I was trying to make is we haven't played the second and third act, but I love that it's split up that way, because then, like, dying isn't the end and you're still building as you go forward. I think that's a really great, and then once the second act comes, we all come back to life, or everyone who hasn't died at least comes back to life. And
it was super important for it to not be like snowbally. That keeps everybody in the game a lot longer.
Yeah, that's really good, because then there's not so many turns you suffer if you die early, or you get like a bash your way twice in a row or something.
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess I'm just not as negative on it and anything that you expected me to be. Like, I quite like a lot about it.
Yeah, thank you for all the feedback, and you guys have given me like a lot of notes that just I observed of like wording changes that could be better. Really appreciate that.
No problem. And this will be on YouTube, because why, Mark?
Oh, why? We're wrapping into the outro now.
Yeah.
Well, this
I was trying to.
We're 17 past closing time now. But it was worth the extra stretch. This will be available on YouTube to watch after the fact once the stream is done on Twitch. But also starting next week, starting next month, in October, all the IGDA events will be streamed directly to YouTube, so we won't be on Twitch anymore. We'll try to make sure we put some notice if people can find their way over there. But we're going to try that out instead of streaming to Twitch and then exporting to YouTube, which is a whole thing logistically. So we're going to give that a try, starting with the game dev meeting, second Wednesday of October, and of course third Wednesday this event as well. And then VR and HCI will be on streaming to YouTube as well, starting in October.
And I would say one of the advantages of streaming directly to YouTube is that the YouTube still keeps all the comments that have been going on. Meanwhile, here in Twitch, the stream chat disappears when you export it to YouTube.
That's right. Yeah, we do get
helpful.
the video playback with the chat playback until Twitch deletes it. Which is 2 weeks after recording. So that's one of the things for these events, especially, like having the comments and questions on all 3 of our monthly events in the chat has been a really vital part of making these events, which used to be in person, still feel a little bit more like a community when we're online, and having them on YouTube from jump will be a way to keep that stuff in there. So for sure. Well, again, Lane, thanks for all your help tonight, co-hosting with us, as always, arranging the games, getting the lineup set up.
Thanks for sharing your own game.
Yeah, for listeners, Lane
pleasure.
is the one who does most of the coordination on the lineups every month. And of course, bringing this game in. It was really fun to play.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys very, very much. Thank you to the audience. Thank you to Duraffelmeister and Kaiju Kaylee for all the comments. And yeah, have a great night, everybody.
Okay, so when my warrior friends have been killed by beasts and the king perishes, I will inherit the kingdom, even the curtains.